Mic check one, mic check one. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Grand Prairie, Texas for the continuation of the Super 8 Pacific Conference. Today's match featuring the East Bay Blazers, Chicago Kingsmen, East Bay Blazers and the Silicon Valley Strikers. Joe Hickey, I think I'm struggling this morning. You want to help me out?
Yeah, we got a little California love today in the heart of Texas. It is the Western Division matchup, a very often seen matchup in the environs of Morgan Hill and so forth. But here we've got it live at Grand Prairie Stadium. 7-3, the all-time record. Blazers have won the last 7 meetings between these two, and the first wicket just falling moments ago as Saideep Ganesh leaves on 15 from 11, caught by Gary Graham off the bowling of the man with the ball in hand right now, Yusuf Zazai.
So Sujith Gowda at the non-strikers end. Captain Sanjay Krishnamurthy taking strike. The East Bay Blazers are batting because the Silicon Valley Strikers inserted them into bat. Silicon Valley Strikers will be bowling. And the East Bay Blazers, obviously, in fact, I'll defer to you on this one. Joe Hickey, you can explain to everybody what this means in terms of the standings and what might each team want to accomplish as that's cut away fiercely for 4.
Yeah, lovely shot there from Sanjay, and we talked to him. They are targeting something in the 180 region because today it's not just about getting the win. That is imperative, but in addition, East Bay need to give themselves enough of an advantage in net run rate over Kings 11 Dallas that if they end up in a 3-way tie, after Dallas potentially upsetting Chicago later on tonight, they would end up at the top of the tiebreaker. Dallas at the moment the leader in that tiebreak. They would be ahead of Chicago no matter what if they get the win. But East Bay have a little something to say about whether we've got 3 teams still alive going into tonight's game.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you have all the different permutations and all of the different dependencies and all of that, you can do worse than having a man who's not only a brilliant cricket commentator, but also an actual college professor to be able to explain that to everybody. So thank you for breaking that down, Mr. Hickey. 1 ball remaining here in over number 4. 25 runs on the board. You say that East Bay, meeting Sanjay Krishnamurthy, the captain, wanted to set something around 180. But talk, since unfortunately we're not able to have the audio and video from the toss, maybe spend some time for the next few minutes talking about what each captain mentioned as you were at the toss with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a look at this last delivery here from Yusuf Zazai, and then right to that, unless something remarkable happens. We do have the briefest of appeals, even as Zazai chases after that ball, falls on deaf ears, and a dot to finish off. And so that over coming to a close at 25 for 1. But yes, talked with Raymond Reifer, of course, won the toss. Reef was telling us basically that today was about 2 things. Number 1, taking a shot here at their local rival. They haven't beaten them in quite some time, and trying to just take the game apart phase by phase. You win 4 of them, you feel pretty good. You win 5, you usually win that match. In past games, they have tended to peter out. They've chased both times they've faced the Blazers and have been looking good at the halfway point, even in front of the game in one of those, and just have not been able to get it done down the stretch, hemorrhaging wickets.
Allow me to interrupt you for a second, because I know for a fact that we have some listeners on air, in particular Major and his brother, who are just joining us on the air. You mentioned the 3 phases. Tell me a little bit about what you mean by that.
Yeah, so you've got your power play, which is this portion that we're in right now, only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle that you see marked with the little dots about 30 yards from the wicket. And during that phase, prioritizes boundaries. It's a little harder to take those quick singles because everybody's gathered in tight. You've got your middle overs, kind of the dog days of a cricket match. And then you got your death overs where, if you've managed to conserve wickets, you've still got your good, strong batters up there. You can really explode for a lot of runs late. And, of course, each team gets to do both of those things. And so those are your 6 phases. And I would say the games with Silicon Valley and East Bay, they've pretty reliably won 2 or 3 of those phases. And then it's just been that middle and death overs batting that has really let them down. And so Reef looking to get right in that respect here and give a chance to some of the kids that have not seen the field as much this season. One of whom is actually the man with the ball right now, the lefty pacer Naman Patil.
So Naman Patil, that will smart just a little bit. Sujit Gowda looking for the big hit over mid-wicket. Maybe playing a little bit too early, and where's that one on the upper thigh, it looks like. Luckily for him, that's all that it hits. Less said about that, the better. So the young man Naman Patil, bowling over number 5. You mentioned the 3 phases. We have 2 deliveries, make that 2 overs, less 2 balls rather, remaining in the first phase, the power play. So about 10 more balls remaining inside the power play. Lofted down the ground, over long on, make that over mid on for his first, make that his second boundary. Sujit Gowda moving into double figures now.
And just patiently waiting out the first couple balls from Naman Patil. Of course, one of them trying to, maybe test his patience. But that one there, absolute gorgeous execution.
So earlier when we were, let's call it voiceless, when we were still working through our mechanical issues or technical issues, if you will, we saw that Sujit Gowda was put down on the boundary. Put down in the sense that he skied a ball that in all likelihood probably should have been taken in the deep. That catch was dropped. He was on 1 by then. So maybe an underlying story to think about the next several overs is how far does Sujit Gowda get from having been put down with that drop. Very into that short point area.
About to
2
save
balls
it.
remaining over 5.
Very nearly half of a commentator curse there as Gowda spoons that one in the direction of point, but a little bit short of him. So far it cost them 4 right off the bat, and we're up to 9 runs since he was dropped, and so Gowda will want to punish them here. East Bay, as we said, looking to have the accelerator on early and often during this first innings, put up a big total.
Advancing down the track, Raymond Reefer, the captain, is down at long on. Sujit Gowda looking to be aggressive. Not surprising if you're looking for 180, and right now you're only going at the rate of 6.21 and over. Projection there 124, so you do have some making up to do.
And Raymond Reefer in position there. He was drawn in on the first of those 4s and immediately pushed himself back to the boundary. Sometimes that's the old bolting the door after the horse has already left, but this time around comes in handy. Next ball goes right to him.
Final ball of over number 5. Just tapped back to the bowler himself. So that is the end of 5 overs. Off to a bit of a ragged start technology-wise, but on the field, both teams I think will be reasonably happy with where they each are. 30 for 1 after 5.
Commandant Hotak will take the ball from the river end as we have the last over of this power play. Left arm spin from over the wicket. His first delivery picked up and drilled. No fielder in that area. Only question was 4 or 6. Haven't actually seen a signal yet. There goes. 6 runs added to the kitty here. And a signal of intent. One there from Sujith Gowda, who's got a boundary in the last over off of the youngster Naman Patil. Patil, one of 3 changes to the side for Raymond Reefer. Striding down the ground and accessing the offside this time, as the line a little wider than I think he might have been expecting when he picked up the feet. But he gets to it all the same, puts it over the drawn-in men on that offside. And that's another 4 here, 10 off the first 2. Punishing Commandant Hotak, who's been given up just barely over 5 runs and over in the power play this season.
5 runs and over, has already conceded double that in the first 2 balls of over number 6. Sujith Gowda living a charmed life. Bear in mind, he was dropped, as we talked about earlier, when he was on 1. So his numbers now, he's added 20 to that. And so you'd want to think, having been given that life, he'd want to push on from here.
This time around, a little on the short side, looped up over the top of Tarun Adada. It's a long run for both of the boundary riders, but it'll make it there. And that's now a 3rd boundary off the first 4 balls. Sujith Gowda taking a liking to the lefty spin of Commandant Hotak.
I'm curious to see what the line and length is that Cameron Hotak is bowling. Given the fact that you have 2 men in the deep, you have as many as 2 men in the deep because it's the power play, but now they're changing. What they were trying to do initially with mid-on inside the circle is to get Sujith Gowda to hit against the turn, which is, it's generally a smart thing to try to do, have a batter hitting against the turn. But if you're dropping the ball short, then that negates that strategy.
Trying to go big again, and this has got plenty of legs. Almost straight back over the bowler's head, and another 6.
20 from 5 balls. Just to finish your thought I was just saying. If the ball is turning away from the right-handed batter, you leave your mid-on inside the circle to try to incentivize them to hit over the top. But 2 things that negate that strategy. Number 1, the ball is not turning that much. And then number 2, the line and the length that Cameron Hotak is bowling is not consistent. So that opens up opportunities for Sujith Gowda to take advantage. And take advantage he is with 20 runs already in this over.
And with that monster 6, the 50 up here for East Bay Blazers inside the power play. And for a team that averages 39 runs for the loss of 2 inside the power play and is facing a unit that averages 37 conceded inside the power play, absolute advantage here. And no need to get over-aggressive. Sujith Gowda will play that one to Raymond Reefer at extra cover. And that will be the power play done and dusted. East Bay Blazers 50 for the loss of 1. They will stick with Naman Patil from the racecourse end. If you want to think of it this way, he is more or less into the side in place of Saurabh Netravalkar, who sits this one out. The other 2 absences from the 11 we've seen the first 2 days of the Super 8s are Pranay Suri and Christopher Ramsaran, who are both your sub-fielders. In their place, Avik Dixit and Tarun Adada. Adada potentially an opening batter later on, although they have not subbed out any of the openers. First delivery is a bit of an under edge. They're looking to take the quick single, and down to the danger end is Krishnamurthy. The throw a little bit wide. Looked like he got home, but a bit of hesitation as Gowda was halfway down the track before Sanjay realized that he had been called across.
Definite hesitation. I'm not too sure that he would have made it. Maybe the replay will tell us here. And looking at the replay on our end, it's going to be very close. I'm thinking that he might have been short. Oh yeah, he would have been short by about 1.5 feet had that hit directly.
Long throw from Yusuf Zazai. I think Sanjay just caught trying to figure out where that ball had been hit. Very similar trajectory, but with less pace. This time a lot more decisive from Sujith Gowda, and no problem taking the single.
Number one, certainly more decisive. Number two, almost an instant replay. But the difference there being the running was more assured on this occasion. So you like seeing them not only hit 4s and 6s, but if you have the opportunity to get those quick singles, absolutely a major part of the game.
Silicon Valley this season strongest inside the power play, both in economy and in strike rate. So East Bay having gotten 50 off of that. Pretty stellar. That's one rolled to mid-wicket. That'll be a single as well. And Patil pretty economical. His first over went for just 5. 4 of that coming on a single boundary stroke, but otherwise extremely tidy. Fielding restrictions, of course, released. Deep protection all over the place. And Gowda thinking about a single. He will head back as the fielder comes charging in. That is Raymond Reefer.
Inside edge that ball onto his toe. So that is not going to feel very good. He talked about the fact that Naman Patil replacing Saurabh Netravalkar, left armer. Not quite as quick as Saurabh Netravalkar to the naked eye, but that ball is still coming probably 75 miles an hour. You inside edge it onto your toe. There's not much protection there, so no surprise that Sujith Gowda is taking a couple of extra seconds before he faces the next delivery.
Young man Naman Patil at the top of his run-up. The youngest player ever in MILC at 15 and a half years when he debuted. This one is in the air, could be a chance, and this one is going to be dropped. Gowda looking a little bit cat-like, and I don't mean the reflexes, I mean the 9 lives at this point. Avik Dixit has that one burst through his hands.
It has to be said, he's a young man, Avik Dixit, but he misjudges this. He's in by maybe 2 yards, ends up leaping, and to use a soccer expression, palming it over the crossbar. For me, if he's back on the rope, maybe with 6 inches, a foot to spare, he takes that head high. And so compounding the error of misjudging it by allowing it to go for 6. Living a charmed life, Sujith Gowda, is exactly the case. Now, the second time that he was dropped, first on 1, now on 38. What does he do with these lives?
This one lofted wide of the follow-through of Naman Patil. And that'll fall for a single.
Boy, it's always, you hate to say it, it's embarrassing when you drop a catch and then the captain immediately moves you from the spot where you were. It's an admission that says, you know what, I probably need somebody with better hands in that spot. End of over number 760 for 1. I just mentioned that it can be sometimes embarrassing. When you drop a catch, you're immediately moved by the captain. Well, yours truly was playing in a double wicket tournament with international players being the bowlers and the batters, and Houston Cricket League players being the fielders. This is 2002 in the Astrodome in Houston. Kumar Dharmasena, who is currently an international umpire, former Sri Lankan off-spinner, was bowling. I am at long on. Ball is skied in the air. I lose it in the lights. I put the catch down. He immediately moves me from long on to fine leg. Pretty much the lowest moment of my entire cricket career.
That is a long, long walk, too, to do with your head down.
Not only is it a long walk, it's a long walk of shame.
Yes, indeed.
So that's about a good, 130 or so yards. 180 degrees from where you were just now. Go think about what you did down at Fine Leg. The ball is not going to go in that direction, so I don't have to worry about you dropping another catch.
See, here's the thing. I have seen, admittedly, photos of the Houston Astrodome roof.
Yes.
Was it a red ball match?
White ball.
See, that's just not fair.
It's not.
Yeah, I place no blame on you for that one. That's ridiculous. You ask anybody who had to play at the Astrodome or the Metrodome or the Kingdome. I mean,
Yep.
it was renowned for just losing it up there. It might as well just be a cloudy day permanently.
Oh my goodness, that was 23 years ago. I'm older than I remember. Back to this game, 60 for 1, 7 overs in the books. The scoring rate, 8.57. So you're in range or within range of the 180 that Sanjay Krishnamurthy was looking for at the toss.
Yeah, the exact numbers at this point is the East Bay Blazers need to win by about 20 to 25 at least to open themselves a path. We've kind of taken a look at the lowest net run rate Dallas could get if they were to, say, win a game, but by super over, would pull it down just a little bit. They would still trail them going into the game, but that would give them at least a path where a close enough Dallas win would put them on the plane to Morrisville. Shahan Jayasuriya, he's had a few trips to Morrisville in his past. He will bowl the next over from the river end. Slingy off spinner, gives up a single off the first.
Curious why that was only a single. That was hit in the gap. Long on had work to do. Cow Corner had work to do. To me, that's easily a double if they push themselves. But choosing just to settle for one.
Yeah, perhaps picking their battles in the aftermath of a brief scare of a giveaway run out. Also, perhaps being very happy getting Sanjay Krishnamurthy on strike against some off spin. And that is smashed right into the sight screen. And I think that would justify the strategy of taking the one and letting him have a couple of whacks at Shahan Jayasuriya.
Bang down the ground. You said right into the sight screen. That blasted probably about, we can do the quick math, that's about a 90-yard hit. And Sanjay Krishnamurthy has had some monster strikes in the last couple of days.
And now he's lost his wicket to Shahan, so round one goes to Sanjay. Won the battle, loses the war. Shahan Jayasuriya strikes, second wicket down for the East Bay Blazers.
Quicker and flatter, and part of knowing the appropriate footwork when you're batting in cricket is to know that it's generally dangerous to go back to a full ball. Look how full this ball is, and he's back on his back foot. Sanjay Krishnamurthy could easily have covered both the line and the length had he come forward to that. So that's something. Yes, I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. General rule is if the ball is full, you play it on the front foot. If it's short, play it on the back foot. When you go back to a full ball, you do that at your peril.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite baseball analogies I figured out when early on as a cricket fan, you're struggling to figure out what do they mean when they talk about a length ball? What do they mean when they talk about the kind of delivery that can be a problem? And, of course, baseball has nothing like that in pitching, but it does have it in fielding. And you talk all the time as an infielder about trying to get a true hop, which would basically be a short ball, or a short hop, which would be a half volley. When you get that in-between hop, that's what you're aiming for as a bowler. That's what Sanjay just turned that into, when if he'd come forward, that's one you're charging as an infielder to try and get the quick pickup.
The run-up started outside the boundary line, but it makes perfect sense.
I hit the top of off?
You did hit the top of off with that run-up that started.
Back to actual cricket terminology.
Because that's exactly right. If you're going to be picking it up, if it's going to be a short hop, you run in and you take it almost like on the half volley with your glove. In cricket terms, you have to go forward to that ball, as you see the replay here again. Look at this. Very full, and watch his back foot. He's back onto the back foot to a ball that is pitching probably right in the slot. He comes forward and plays that same shot to the previous delivery. He gets 6 more down the ground.
Instead, it's a walk to the shed, and Angie Pereira in at 4. A dot on the first delivery he faces, and this one now pushed wide of Shahan. And Pereira will get going. We've talked about it the last couple of days. Pereira, the fastest starter on this team, a strike rate of nearly a run and a half per ball in his first 5 and his first 10 balls of innings. So he's usually not shy about getting rolling. We'll see how long the consolidation period lasts as that second wicket partnership comes to an end, courtesy of Shehan Jayasuriya. Gowda back on strike now. Final ball of the 8th. And that'll be a nice, easy single. That brings the over to an end. So 9 runs from Jayasuriya's first, but one of the big fish in this East Bay lineup, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, dismissed on 12 from 9. East Bay Blazers 69 for 2.
Just a quick word, Joe, about the conditions today. We're playing on pitch number 3, the third westernmost pitch. So in the past couple of days, we've played on the center pitch, meaning there's equal distance on either side of the ground. Today, one side of the ground, the western side, is much, much shorter than the eastern side. It is 64 yards to the west and 82 yards to the east. So that will figure heavily when the spinners are bowling and determining which spinner bowls from which end. We can go into details as we get into that part of the game, but it's something worth highlighting.
It's going to be Arik Dixit, a lefty spinner, into the attack. The young man making his first appearance in minor league cricket with ball in hand. Batted in the one match that he's been in the 11 for. In fact, against these East Bay Blazers back in early September. Faced off with the 2 righties, and yeah, to your point here, ball turning away. That's going to force these two to put it to the offside. That is presently the bigger side of the ground from pitch number 3.
And to get into the psychology of cricket, Joe Hickey, maybe what you're trying to do by bringing the left-hander in from this side is to try to incentivize the righties to hit on the leg side, the shorter side, which ordinarily is their power stroke. But if you hit with the power stroke to the leg side, you'd be hitting against the turn.
Pereira doing a little bit more of what you'd like if you're trying to just conserve runs rather than take the wickets, and that one run back behind point for a single first run for Pereira off of Dixit.
It's always, to me, fascinating looking at the different the chess pieces being moved around. And this, for me, is a particularly intelligent one, looking to incentivize the big hit on the left side, meaning on the leg side. That ball a little bit too short to accomplish what I'm trying to say, but what you're trying to do here is toss the ball up, maybe outside the line of off stump, have it turning away, and see if Angelo Pereira, who's naturally aggressive, will want to hit in the direction of the leg side, but that being against the turn might induce a false stroke.
Pereira again sitting back to that delivery and poking it to the same spot for a single. Said Pereira, a very active batter with the feet by and large, and we can see from up here just the little bit of sway as he's getting himself loaded for either a charge or to sit back, and it's never a boring batter to watch out there. It's one of my favorite 4 or 5 cricketers in the West to watch work, and that one's a bit overpitched, and Sujith Gowda is going to fire it in the gap between long on and mid-wicket, and a 4 here on the final delivery of Dixit's first over.
Yeah, dragging this one into that gap, you mentioned it. And Shehan Jayasuriya, who is a brilliant fielder, his good hands, moves a lot quicker than you'd think for somebody his size. I don't mean that pejoratively, by the way. He's able to cover a lot of ground, which is why you have him in the outfield. Not even he could get to that diving full length, but not quite able to get to it. So that is the end of 9. So just got up to 46. 45 of those runs are bonus runs, and the score is 77 for 2.
Raymond Reefer is going to stick with Shehan Jayasuriya at the river end. First delivery of over number 10 as we approach the halfway point. That'll be a single for Pereira. Gowda on strike.
Not to belabor the point, but that first delivery to Angelo Pereira came forward, punching it down the ground. It's the exact same delivery that was bowled to Sanjay Krishnamurthy. You cover so much and you get to the pitch by getting your front foot in line and being able to play forward as opposed to going back to those full balls.
Full delivery there, guided again for a single. Gowda to 47.
So a bit of, let's call it consolidation taking place. As you very expertly pointed out, the second phase, the middle phase, is where you essentially keep wickets in hand.
Scorched. That one's going to run along the carpet. Long run for long on, and he will not cut that off. A 4 for Pereira.
Well, you keep wickets in hand, but if you get a half volley on your legs, you're not being true to your craft if you don't put those away. So Pereira, as you mentioned, very naturally aggressive, 8 from 7. Partner on the other end is living a charmed life. It's 47 from 30, Sujith Gowda.
Another single taken as he guides that one just fine of the fielder inside the circle on the onside. That will bring Gowda back on strike. At this point, you'd figure 2 wickets down. Got this 84 on the board. You're right around that pace that Sanjay was sort of going at or citing. From this point forward, you go at about 9.5, and you'll work your way towards that 180. And the platform's set certainly at this point to try to explode if you can keep this partnership going for a couple more overs.
If you can keep the partnership going, 9.5 would be probably the bare minimum that you'd be looking for. 10, 11 is more than likely.
That one shot straight back at Jayasuriya. What a caught and bowled. My goodness gracious, and that will be the end of Sujith Gowda, 3 runs shy of a 50. But through no fault of his own, this is absolutely hammered. Unlucky and phenomenal work by Jayasuriya to get the hands down and secure it.
Saw the reaction there from Sujith Gowda. Was living a charmed life, dropped twice, once on 1, once on 39, but this is hammered. And this is a deep pull, really deep pull.
Bring it.
Former West Indian spinner, in my mind, the best spinner we've ever had, Lance Gibbs, turned 91 years of age yesterday or day before yesterday. That, to me, is very much a Lance Gibbs type of dismissal, where you toss the ball in the area where you want the batter to play it, and then you immediately move over to where you know he's going to play it. It is an exceptionally high level of cricket where you know what shot you're going to induce from the batter and then put yourself in the position for the cotton bowled. You'll see exactly that's what Shehan Jayasuriya did just now. Look at this. Look how after he releases it, I can't tell from that angle. And if we see the other angle from the other side, we see Sujith Gowda's reaction. Here, look. They're immediately move over and then be in the right position because he knows with that delivery, this is where the ball is going to be going. That I cannot tell you how high level a level of cricket that is. Tremendous from Shehan Jayasuriya.
A big fan of the high-minded art of this sport, all those little wrinkles you can find. It's going to be Kavan Bandara coming out to make it an all-Sri Lankan partnership at the center for the East Bay Blazers after the Sri Lankan for the Silicon Valley Strikers dismisses Sujith Gowda. We'll be back in just a moment. Drinks break nearing its conclusion. East Bay 84 for 3 at the halfway point.
Halfway through the innings, 84 for 3 is your score, courtesy, that last wicket, courtesy of a tremendous cotton bowled by Shehan Jayasuriya. Left arm spin, Avik Dixit bowled 1 over already, the ninth over. That over conceding 8 runs. Now coming back in to bowl his second over to Angelo Pereira, 9 from 8. Naturally aggressive. Will he curb that natural aggression now that he's lost his partner? Gone! Cut away, and absolutely brilliant catch taken low at, let's call it, deep gully. But that ball was traveling. That took some catching. Excellent catch, and 2 wickets in 2 balls.
Maiden wicket for Avik Dixit, and the All-Sri Lankan partnership lasts all of a few seconds. A little up off the splice as he looks to cut that. Maybe not wide enough for that shot. And ends up in the hands of the fielder, as you said, a deep gully. And another wicket falling, and Drinks often brings them. A wicket brought Drinks. Drinks brings a wicket.
That's a great piece of fielding. I would agree with you completely that when you take a Drinks break, it upsets the batting side more than it does the bowling side. The bowlers, okay, we have some time to relax. We can take a sip. With the batter, you are in the position of needing to concentrate. You get a good flow going, then you've played yourself in, you're going along well. But when it happens that you break that concentration, whether it be through a Drinks break or some other interruption, you can sometimes interrupt that concentration, and that sometimes leads to wickets.
Silicon Valley Strikers on a team hat trick now. Silicon Valley Strikers on a team hat trick now. There we go. It's Hizbullah Durrani out at the center.
Looking to avoid the team hat trick. A hat trick, of course, being 3 deliveries in a row, allowing a wicket. Team hat trick would be 3 deliveries in a row yield a wicket, but they were not bowled all by the same bowler. 3 deliveries in a row bowled by one bowler becomes a hat trick for that bowler. Nevertheless, all of that is water under the bridge, as that's a dot ball to start his spell or his time at the wicket. Mr. Durrani, this is cut away. More runs here, probably a couple into the deep. They jog back for that second run. But boy, things were going the direction of the East Bay Blazers for a while here, Joe Hickey, but it seems as though the Silicon Valley Strikers are striking back. The Strikers strike back. Is that too wide a reference for Star Wars?
No, I think that works just fine. My brain right now is going through the team list, trying to figure out if there's anything that's going to work with return of the Zazai, maybe? There we go. Found it. I knew it was there. If he comes back to bowl the next over, I'm clairvoyant.
Last 2 balls coming up here in over number 11. Ooh, teasing him. Tossed up nicely outside that line of off stump. Once Hizbullah Durrani to go for that shot outside the line of off stump. There was a couple of fielders behind point. Chooses to lay off here. Now he goes for the shot. Gary Graham, oh, look at this. Oh, he went to the wrong end. If that throw goes to the keeper's end, that is wicket number 5.
Oh, my goodness gracious. The new partnership out at the center. Kavin Bandara, rather new to the team. Hizbullah Durrani, a young, precocious, and very enthusiastic cricketer. We've seen him all over the field. That the talk not quite good enough there and nearly costs them. And as you said, if that goes to the other end, that was where it needed to be. Not enough talk in the Silicon Valley side to let Gary Graham know where to gun that.
Boy. So, not obviously, when you're in the field, when you're playing, it is the job of at least one player, and typically it's the keeper, to immediately shout which end to throw to. And so when the ball went to Gary Graham, somebody should have been yelling, keeper, because if that throw goes back to the keeper's end, you probably find Durrani short by, I'm guessing, 3 or 4 yards.
We'll have a second to rethink some choices there as he sits at the non-striker's end. Shehan Jayasuriya into the attack. And Durrani's removed the helmet. Is he from Trinidad and we didn't know?
Removing the helmet as that ball is punched into the deep for a single, it can sometimes be a psychological part of the game. I'm full of deep pulls today, but this is not as deep a pull. Viv Richards.
Okay.
Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards, I think you could comfortably say the best batter that West Indies has ever produced. Was very adamant that he would never wear a helmet, even if the bowler is bowling 90 miles an hour, because he does not want the bowler to think that he's intimidated by him. These days, when a modern player does it, it's usually because it's a spinner and they don't feel threatened. And that is not going to present a threat to anyone but in the upper deck, if you will, in this old baseball stadium. Goes away for another 6.
Rocking back and throwing a powerful shot. Hizbullah Durrani yesterday, 33 off 29 and a pair of 6s. I don't think either of them were that long.
This traveled, and he drags it from outside the line of off stump. He's assisted in some ways by the fact that that ball is turning into him from around the wicket. But it's the type of delivery that is good if it's on a shorter length, but at that length allows you to go big down the ground.
East Bay looking to resume that pursuit. A score north of 180 after losing a few wickets right around drinks.
Should just be one here. Raymond Reefer, the captain, is very fleet-footed in the infield. Generally an excellent fielder. Not surprising, somebody who's played as high a level of cricket as he has, Raymond Reefer. Really good in any aspect of the game. I believe this matchup works a little bit better for Shehan Jayasuriya. Both hands to his head as he thought that that ball might have just snuck through. Boy, so flurry of activity all of a sudden.
And Kavan Bandara, the one at the other end, somebody who's already contributed to a late flurry to make a target a little harder to chase. Had that big 6 on the final ball, and if you recall that game against Kings 11, won it by 15 runs. That feels a lot different if you need 9 down the stretch.
It does. Now, last ball of his third over here, Shehan Jayasuriya. Played into that backward point area, no run. Interestingly, the last ball, or the previous delivery, went as a leg by, which means that it came off the body of the batter, but the right-hander bowling around the wicket to the right-handed batter, there's no chance of that being given to LBW, so literally nobody even appealed, which I actually like to see. This tells you, and you're telling the umpire, I know the rules of cricket, no way that could be out, I'm not even going to bother appealing.
Certainly appreciated. East Bay going here at 8s. Jayasuriya just a little bit north of that, but has the 2 big wickets through his first 3, 96 for 4.
So back to Vic Dixit. 1 for 10 from his 2 overs bowled so far. Oh, look at this. Tell you what, Captain Raymond Reefer in the field, off balance, so not able to get much on that throw. So they start off over number 13 with a single. Down to the last 47 balls of the innings. Run rate 7.97. So the projection there is 159. It's come down a little bit from a couple overs ago.
Yeah, unsurprising here. Some good pressure put on by Avik Dixit. Lost in the taking of the wicket right after the drinks break. He ends up with just 2 runs conceded off that over. He's been very economical, and not a surprise for those that have seen him in MILC Junior or the one-day Under-19 West Championships recently.
Oh, cut away. I don't know that he needed it or wanted it to go that fine, Kavan Bandara, but it's just out of reach of the fielder at short third and races away for 4.
We'll get a look here, the angle across, not a ton of turn. Does take that top edge, and a bit of a half chance there that may well have carried, but just a little bit too fine for the dive of the player at fine leg, or excuse me, third man rather.
Worked around the corner this time. So that, by the way, that boundary got you over 100. Score now 102 for 4. And do you put yourself in the position of thinking, okay, let's just get through let's get through the 15 over mark. Both of us keep batting and then see how we can launch toward the end.
Well, you certainly have Vikash Mohan down the lineup, Abhishek Paradkar, and we've talked a bit about Rushil Ugarkar's abilities as well.
Rushil Tendulkar.
There you go.
Onto our deep mid wicket. Now the single that closes things out here in over. Pick that one more ball, remaining in over number 13. So you do have an opportunity to get something going here. And given that you've lost a couple of wickets, including that almost team hat trick a couple of overs ago, there is a need to find the proper blend between caution and aggression as you go into the last ball here of over number 13. Short, worked around the corner. That will go for 4. He will not be proud of that delivery. Avik Dixit is a good young bowler, but this one too short, too wide down the leg side for 4.
And Calvin Bandara helps himself to that one. You figure the lefty spinner in there largely for Durrani, and he has been victimized a couple of times by Bandara. The first one a little bit on the streaky side. This one taking full advantage of a bad ball. That'll make it 107 for 4, the end of 13.
So let's try that again. Shehan Jayasuriya will be bowling his final over here. Good spell from Shehan Jayasuriya, 2 for 25 from his 3 overs. And you would think that he'd be looking at least to attack without being too full. You like the attacking length that he bowls. If he goes too full, then he can be struck down the ground, particularly from Hizbullah Durrani. But you would think that he'd prefer bowling to the lefty, Kevin Bandara. Gives up a single to him here.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking at, we haven't seen a lot of dot deliveries, especially from the spinners. Jayasuriya just 6 of them through 3.1. Dixit 7 from 3, and so that's something that makes it hard to target one batter to keep somebody on strike. Give yourself a chance to build some pressure. There's been a lot of good work to find that release. A brief appeal on this delivery. Let's get a look and see what that was about. Definitely pitching outside the line of leg stump.
And just to go back into that appeal, once again, for those who are watching who are not normally cricket fans, if the ball pitches outside the line of leg stump, in other words, when the right-hander is batting, it's pitching to the right of your screen. If it's pitching, missing the stumps on that side, then by definition, the batter cannot be given out leg before wicket. So an umpire has a number of things that he needs to consider in order to answer an LBW appeal in the affirmative. I don't know if we have time to go back to look at that last one, but by definition, when the ball pitches outside of that line, it's a judge and not out. So that's why that appeal was turned down. 2 straight, lofted around the corner, couple of runs at least, but no, it goes all the way for 4. Excellent stroke to close out the spell for Shehan Jayasuriya. Closes out with a 4. End of over number 14, 115 for 4. So about to get to the 15 over mark. This is the over after which I suggested earlier that you look to see how you can accelerate. I would think that you'd want to start getting something more than that 8 runs and over at which you're scoring right now. And it's Naman Patel again bowling into his 3rd over.
Yeah, if you're targeting the 180 from Sanjay's interview earlier, that's going to take almost 11.
Looking for that drive outside the line of off stump. You don't mind that line. Maybe you don't want it quite that wide, but you certainly don't want anything too straight necessarily. Huge gap between long on and mid wicket on the leg side, and a left-handed hitter loves that area of the field going into this part of the innings, so you might want to be just a little bit closer without being that wide. Good delivery again. This is a little closer to the batter and has a good length too, not able to drive it. So 2 dot balls. Good bowling here from Naman Patel to start over 15.
It occurred to me on the earlier shout we were discussing, if you've got uninitiated cricket fans, you probably also have to explain leg before wicket in the first place.
Solid point, solid point. I should probably go into detail on that.
Well, I'll just give you that one. Basically, you if you're going to defend your stumps and keep the ball from coming through and knocking them down, you have to do it with your bat. You do that with your body, then you're out. And of course, then you get into all the fine minutiae of the laws that govern whether you can be out that way. But essentially, it's that. Don't get in the way with your body, get in the way with the bat.
Cut away for 4. That is a good shot, but goes back to what I said a couple of deliveries ago. You don't want to be too wide, particularly since that's the short side of the field. And once it gets past the inner circle, that's always going to be 4. Look at that replay again. Look where this line, yeah, that gives you a good idea of the line. That's well wide of off stump, and that allows the batter to free his arms. And Kevin Bandara only too happy to cash in on that. 17 from 11 now for Kevin Bandara.
Yeah, partnership's gotten up to 35 since that wicket that fell just after the drinks break.
Much, much better line. You'll accept a ball that is foolish and driven down the ground for a single rather than one that is much wider of the crease and that allows the batter to free his arms. You certainly want to keep that discipline. Now, plan of attack slightly different for the right-handed batter. Hizbullah Durrani, what you're going to probably want to do a similar length, but I'd want, of course, with the right-hander on strike for the ball to be outside the right-hander's off stump. Just maybe a 4th stump, 5th stump line, keeping him playing in that direction. You have plenty of coverage. Plenty of coverage meaning that there's a man deep third and there's a sweeper on the boundary. The line here absolutely has to be outside the line of off stump. Oh, does he get lucky there? Stop me if you've heard this before. 2 yards either side of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, and that goes away for 4. With this field, and Raymond Reefer is walking over to talk to him right now, and I think he's saying, do you see the field that I have set for you? Would you please get that ball outside the line of off stump?
You don't want to be depending on atom balls.
Last ball of over 15. That is exactly what you want with this field. They may try to push for 2. No, they won't. That's what you want to do. That's the definition of bowling to your field. 6 runs coming from the over. A good one from Naman Patel. End up over 15, 121 for 4.
And it'll be the captain putting his hand up here to bowl over number 16 as we enter the nominal death overs of this first innings. East Bay Blazers at the moment about 60 runs shy of that target set by Sanjay Krishnamurthy, something they felt they could defend with enough wiggle room to build up that net run rate. We'll be letting you know later on where they need to land to keep that path open. Reefer around the wicket, a little on the full side, but he does have protection out there at long on. That'll just be a single. 71 runs from the middle overs. They started at 50 at the end of the power play, 121 now. That puts them just a hair under 8 runs and over for that stretch. That is just a little bit under what the Blazers usually do, about a run more expensive per over than what Silicon Valley does. So they'll feel like they've won that part of it. But the handful of wickets that have fallen, the 3 of them that have come in that period of time, that's what's pegged them back just a bit and has them needing to go at 2 runs a ball from here to the finish to find that 180.
Exactly how fast they need to score to go to 180, and 2 overs less 1 ball remaining from your class bowler Raymond Reefer. Maybe in the absence of Saurav Netravalkar, their best bowler and their best left-arm bowler in the moment.
Left on, left here as Bandara lifts this one in front of the long-on fielder Shehan Jayasuriya. That'll be a single, and as the throw comes in, Durrani realizes, maybe go ahead and pick up my pace just a little bit.
Now, it's interesting. Raymond Reefer, very intelligent bowler. He has pace, real pace. We saw a couple of nights ago a brilliant dismissal from a snorter of a short delivery. But the first 2 balls in this over have been bowled with pace off. So trying to get the batters to hit out in front and wanting to make sure that he keeps them guessing, so to speak. So I would imagine that you'd see a steady diet of slower deliveries mixed in with the odd quicker one to let you be reminded of the fact that he does have that card to play. That one was pace off.
And that is
wide.
Yeah, just barely going to miss the tram line. It was a close shave. The signal coming from Sundaram Subramanian with his back to us. Jermaine Lindo, your square leg umpire, currently off screen off to the right. I do wonder, we talk a lot about there being something in this surface for seamers, whether that pace-off allows maybe for even a little more deviation as well off the deck. Nothing on that, but that's going to hang in the air, a running attempt, and Gary Graham cannot secure it. It was always going to be a tough one, but Gary, one of the top fielders out there for this Silicon Valley side, I think he'd tell you he expects to get the hands under that.
Boy, I don't know that he got there. It's a big boundary, so he's down 82 yards away, comes sprinting in. Comes sprinting in, and the ball just lands short of Gary Graham. And boy, he would have thought that he'd have had the time to get to that. If you're playing on the other pitch from yesterday, that's a catch that he takes.
Now it's Kavan Bandara looking to access the onside, and that's going to have the pace to beat the man at square leg into the pavilions, and 4 runs onto the total.
So you're looking to bowl a surprise delivery, but if the batter is not surprised, then it becomes a hit-me ball. That's the short side of the field. Remember, the dimensions are very different today, so just 62 yards on the western side of the ground. And once you get it in that gap, very little chance of the fielder in the deep being able to cut that off.
So the asymmetry of the ground almost giving you 5 runs and preventing a wicket there in the last 2 deliveries. Graham at the boundary, not able to get in time, and that one finding the boundary because it's got a shorter trip. Looking for the comeback here from Reefer. That's going to be a straight drive right into the hands of the fielder at extra cover. Another one that would have been a 4, almost assuredly just 2 yards to one side or the other, but he picks out the fielder perfectly, and that is the end of Kavan Bandara.
Hammered directly to Tyrone Nadada at short extra cover. And I'll tell you what, you're exactly right. If it's either side of Tyrone Nadada, that goes away for 4. But that is the side of the field that you want the left-hander to be playing in or on, not the shorter side. You want it to be playing on the bigger side, the 82-yard boundary. And on this occasion, full enough to induce the forward shot. Yes, on a full delivery, you want to be playing forward, but you also don't want to play it out in front of your body. You either the saying in cricket is keep it down or hit it out. If it's a ball that you can clear the ropes, then you throw the kitchen sink at it. But if it's not one, then you wait for it to come and keep it on the ground. Not really doing either one that time. Kevin Bandara pays the price with his wicket.
Second partnership that's ended just shy of reaching the half-century mark, 45 off of 34 balls faced. Bandara's got to go with 23 off 14. East Bay Blazers, and one ball rather left in the 16th, 129 for 5. Abhishek Paradkar in at 7. Phenomenal season for him with bat in hand. 154 runs in the regular season at a 118 strike rate. Not bad production out of a number 7. And one might have gotten pad. They'll look to take the quick single. We see the signal here, leg buys. That'll put Paradkar on strike to start the next over, but still not off the mark. He's had a tough time here in Grand Prairie. 1 off 2 on Friday, 3 off 8 on Saturday. So not Friday and Saturday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I mean to say. We'll see what the Thursday game has to offer for him when we come back. 130 for 5. Four overs left here. You've got a few options as they have the Silicon Valley Strikers have employed 6 different bowlers today. Reefer's got 1 left, Zazai 2. Naman Patil, who appears to be taking the ball right now, will be bowling his final over of the encounter. You've got 1 more of the lefty spinner Avik Dixit, 3 more potentially of Kamran Hotak, although he gave up his usual game economy in a single over earlier. And I'm really not exaggerating. He averages a 5.22 economy, so that's 21 runs a spell. He gave up 20 in the span of 4 balls bowled to Sujith Gowda, so haven't seen him since. But of course, those 2 long since back in the shed. First delivery out of the hand of Naman Patil, run to the offside for a single.
You talk about Abhishek Paradkar and his exploits with the bat this year. 5th leading batter in the side. You mentioned 154 runs. I am more interested in whether or not he can increase that 117 strike rate. You don't mind an average of 19.25, but strike rate is what you're looking for right now.
Absolutely, and it does, as that one is cut on but wide of the tram line, does for me maybe raise the question of why go with Paradkar rather than Vikash Mohan at this point. Vikash, admittedly, also a strike rate around 115 this season, but somebody who is well-versed in that sort of acceleration late. I mentioned beforehand, struck at, where do I have that number? Where are you? Why are you hiding from me, number? There he is, 170 at the death a couple of years back here when he was an expert finisher. That one also does not find the tram line. Pair of wides here from Patil. Some free runs for East Bay and a chance for Abhishek Paradkar from the non-strikers end to get a little bit of a chance to see what Naman Patil is made of here. Saw Avik in the side for just the second time today. One of the interesting notes that I found as I was looking into these 2 youth players is that one of the wickets that Avik took in the Under-19 West Zone Championships was that of his teammate Naman Patil. That one's run back to a 3rd man in the circle. They'll take a single.
It's an expert piece of batting there to open the face to get a single. Back to the conversation of make that Vikash Mohan versus Abhishek Paradkar. Abhishek Paradkar's strike rate 117. Vikash Mohan's strike rate 114. Couple of names down. Rushil Ugarkar, strike rate 146. Could it not be made, an argument could that not be made that it should be Rushil Ugarkar who got promoted in this instance?
Single here to the offside. It'll be taken quickly as Reefer's up with it, but no throw. I think there it's a battle between reputation and what you've seen in the past versus Rushil, who is maybe, you might argue, about a year behind the trajectory of Paradkar. Last year, Paradkar gave you a couple of explosive innings, but didn't string it together for a long chunk of time. Ugarkar is kind of there right now. All of his cameos have been about 7, 8, 9 balls.
Okay.
And so maybe you want to see him a little bit later when he can be particularly free. That is an attempted scoop ladled right into the hands of Avik Dixit at fine leg. And we may see Rushil Ugarkar sooner rather than later, or Vikash Mohan. We're going to get the answer to some of this, but that is all she wrote for Hizbullah Durrani. He finishes with 21 off 21 at exactly a run a ball.
Stepping to the offside to try to help it over the fielder short fine leg. Pretty straightforward catch. It will feel very good to Avik Dixit to have taken that catch. For the main reason that he put one down on the boundary earlier. I can tell you, again from experience, when you drop a catch, it sticks in your mind. And it basically stays in your mind until you take another catch. And so for me, maybe not as large in terms of an impact on the game, but for the individual player himself, he would have felt a lot better from having taken that catch. 1-1, I'll make that 1-3-5 for 6. You mentioned his name, Vikash Mohan, is who is coming to the wicket.
For Naman Patil, his first wicket of 2025. Took 4 of them, 3 in one game in 2024. Hasn't seen as much action this season. A little bit of a youth movement in the two non-East Bay Blazer teams during the 2024 season, and a real emphasis in a short 8-game year to get a look at a few of the academy players and so forth, and that's how you wind up with a 15-and-a-half-year-old in your side. They say he's built like a bull, though, and has shown us a little bit of that pace out of the left arm. 2 left in this over. First delivery to Mohan, taps straight back to the bowler. Oh, and it's a no ball.
Bowling around the wicket to the right-handed Vikash Mohan, trying to target the stumps, but you have to keep that front foot behind the popping crease. Once again, for Major and all of your maybe first-time listeners, watch that front foot. When you plant, some part of your foot has to come down behind the crease, or behind that popping crease. And I believe that that's what that infraction was. If you don't, then it's a no ball, it's an illegal delivery, and this is a free hit.
And so Mohan cannot be out-caught. He takes advantage of that to put a ball in the air towards the gap. Bit mishandled out there, so the 2 will be easier than it might have been.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, the whole host of ways you can't be out on a no-hit. I think basically what's left over is, stumped? No, not even stumped. That's right. Run out for sure.
Essentially, the best way of thinking about it is any mode of dismissal that the bowler does not get credit for is how you can be out of a free hit.
I like that. Okay.
So that would include run-outs. It would include handle the ball. It would include obstructing the field. No, hit wicket, the bowler gets credit for. So you cannot be out hit wicket.
I should know that. I saw the very first one of them in my life in Morgan Hill earlier this season. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to school. A lengthy over here, 3 extras from it. The free hit not particularly punished there, just the 2 off of it. But Naman Patil does take his first wicket of the season. Hizbullah Durrani gone on 21. East Bay 139 for 6 with 18 balls left to face. We'll take a look here at the batting card. With 3 overs left to go, the 47 for Sujith Gowda dismissed by a very sharp caught and bowled from Shehan Jayasurya, just shy of adding a 17th MILC 50 to his record. Since then, a few lower scores, and then Bandara and Durrani stringing together a decent partnership. The two highest ones we've seen, 48 for the second wicket and 45 between those two for the fifth wicket. Seventh wicket partnership underway, and it's Yusuf Zazai facing Vikash Mohan. First delivery very off pace, worked to the offside. It'll just be a single. Quickly in off the rope is Avik Dixit.
Yusuf Zazai into his third over. Over number 18 in progress, so you would think that he'd also be asked to bowl over number 20. Then my money would say that Raymond Reefer, the captain, would be the one bowling over number 19.
That certainly would seem likely. We did see Silicon Valley end with spin in one of their games this Super 8, but that seemed borderline by accident, running out of pace options.
Yep. Generally speaking, you want to close your innings, your bowling innings, with pace. Pace tends to be harder to clear the ropes. Even if you're a good batter, you can hit pace or spin. But generally speaking, it's your pace is closing out the innings.
That'll be shot to the long off-fielder by Abhishek Paradkar. Just another single, and Silicon Valley will be happy to deal in singles at this point here. East Bay sitting at 141 for 6, just 4 wickets in hand, and well short at the moment of that 180 that we've been harping on. Targeted by Sanjay Krishnamurthy at the toss. Would require another 39 runs to get that target, and that with under 3 overs to go. So you're now talking about something on the order of 14s to make that happen. This one dragged to square leg. It'll be another, mid-wicket rather. It will be 2, or at least it will be an attempt for 2. Throw is down to Adapali's end, and it will not find the target or be in time. So 2 runs there added to the total.
It's interesting. I'd be interested in seeing how many times these two have batted together, because the running between the wickets isn't quite as fluid as you'd expect for it to be. There's a little bit of a stop-start. Do we go? Do we not go? Not quite as fluid as you'd expect at this level.
Zazai over the wicket, going for the bouncer, glanced off the bat and attempted ramp. The throw is going to again be to the wrong end, and the overthrow is going to maybe allow a second run. No. They will turn that down. Second time we've seen a throw go probably where it didn't need to. Vikash Mohan much, much slower out of the blocks than his partner, Abhishek.
Yeah, I'd agree with you completely that if that throw goes toward Vikash Mohan's end, he may find himself short of his ground. Looking for the direct hit at the striker's end. I think he would have made it home safely, Abhishek Paradkar, but the throw really would have gone, or you'd have wanted that throw to go to the non-striker's end.
I want to laser along the carpet. Straight to the man at long off, Raymond Reefer. And to your point earlier about how often they've batted together, I can't answer that fully. I can tell you this was the pair that was at the crease when Vikash was run out last night. We saw that definitely being one where there was a bit of a stop and start, thinking about taking a second run, and came up short of his crease and had to depart early as a result. He's sitting at 7 off 6 right now, 1 ball left in this 18th over. Last ball of the over will be dragged along square of the wicket, thinking about perhaps a second, but they will stay put. It'll be Vikash Mohan on strike, 7 off of Zazai's third. He'll, of course, be back for the 20th, expecting the captain at the race course end for over number 19 when we come back. 146 for 6. And indeed, it is the captain, Raymond Reefer. He's been going at 8s so far in his spell. 1 for 24. Has got 1 wicket in the back pocket, and will be hoping perhaps to dismiss one of these two and work even further into this tail. First delivery off pace, but wide of the mark.
You see what he's trying to do, Raymond Reefer, trying to incentivize the batter to hit on the offside. Again, that is to the large side of the ground. 2 fielders in the deep on the entire leg side. You have a long on and a deep mid-wicket, almost like a whitish cow corner. So you absolutely cannot be too straight here, to the short side of the ground, no less. So everything is going to be outside the line of off stump.
And really playing with that tram line. That one only not a wide because of how far Vikash Mohan has stepped across his stumps. The line moves with the batter if you make that that sort of dramatic step towards the offside and trying to get to a position where he can still access the shorter side of the ground and drag one across. No luck there. And ends up with a dot for his troubles. And an even more dramatic attempt for that, and it'll be a single. But my goodness gracious.
I want to see this again. He moves over a good 6 feet because he knows the deliveries are going to be outside the line of off stump. He's trying to get over in order to be able to play it on the leg side. I think you highlighted that beautifully. Somehow manages to get bat on it to get it to fine leg. Good piece of fielding by Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, but didn't get the replay on that. But that would be an amazing piece of footage to see how far he dragged that ball from.
Now the lefty Paradkar on strike. That one just over the hands of a diving fine leg. And that is going to not find the boundary rope. It'll be a pair of runs as the throw comes in late to Amog Adapalli at the wicketkeeper's end. But a near chance there. I think that is Yusuf Zazai who put in the dive. And at the very least, with the deflection he put on that ball, saves 2 runs.
You are, this time, a very lenient grader. This is a drop. This is straight in his hands, and you have to take that, both hands to it.
Oh, dear.
And that one has to be taken. Maybe I'm being harsh. And he had to dive to his right, but to me, that's a catch that should be taken.
Paradkar again just missing the fielder. This time not a drop. Unable to get a hand to it is Patil, but it will be taken in the deep. Another pair of runs on offer here.
Wow. So a bit of action here in the penultimate over of the innings. 3 balls make that 2 balls remaining in over number 19. By the way, the 150 is now up, 152 for 6.
So lost in arguing about my grading curve.
Trying to decide if I want to take your class or not.
Off pace, nearly at shoulder height. That one's going to escape from the wicketkeeper and allow them to take a run. Paradkar almost didn't get on the move there. It'll be a bye. It is a delivery above the shoulder, and that'll be the 1 for the over. So the last one here can't be a bouncer. But I think Paradkar was so busy arguing with the square leg umpire Sundaram Subramanian about whether that was a wide that he forgot to run. Might have an argument.
He may have an argument. I don't know if we have the time to go back and look at that. Maybe we'll do it at the end of the over. Last ball.
Or Vikash Mohan will give us something else to watch, which is a 6 over the head of Shahan Jayasuriya out in the deep. And that, some very, very useful runs as East Bay move towards 160, and a particularly big final over might get that target Sanjay set after all.
As advertised, look how far, again, outside the line of off stump, Vikash Mohan steps. All 3 stumps are comfortably behind him, so he drags this ball that would have been a wide otherwise straight down the ground over long on for 6.
Reliably my favorite part of the game. The amount of freedom the batters have to move changes the entire equation. In baseball, you don't get to do that sort of thing to take away what a pitcher's trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Here in cricket, step across, step 6 feet, play it where he doesn't want you to play it. It's brilliant stuff. Yusuf Zazai will get the final over, this one being bowled from the river end. So far on the afternoon is Azai 1 for 17, going at just under a run a ball. The wicket he took, that of Saideep Ganesh, just before we got audio on here. He goes with a bouncer up front and has calibrated that one perfectly. The signal is, of course, going to be the lone bouncer for the over.
So just to go into detail on that, once again for our new listeners, if you bowl a short delivery, a ball that bounces up at the shoulder blades or higher, we refer to that as a bouncer, and you can bowl one of those per over, once every 6 balls. If you bowl a second one of those, then it would be adjudged a no ball, an illegal delivery. So something to keep in mind. If you're a bowler and you have the ability to bowl that short ball, you get that short ball in, but after it's adjudged as one short ball for the over, you're no longer allowed to bowl any more of those without it being punished.
That is fired towards the deep protection at long off. Just a single there, and so far just 1 run off the first 2 deliveries of this over. Good tight bowling here and potentially making the job that much harder for the East Bay bowlers to restrict Silicon Valley's run rate later.
Certainly, 160 is where you are now. Is it technically possible to get to 180? Yes, but it's not going to be easy to do it off of the last 4 balls coming here from Yusuf Zazai.
It is worth noting, highest score we've seen so far this week at Grand Prairie, albeit with Kings 11 Dallas having their innings cut short by being done. They might have gotten there.
They could have gotten 200 if Andre House had stayed there.
Broken some windows. Stepping forward to a full toss. That'll be dropped into the onside and just a single there for Vikash.
That throw from the captain, a bullet of a throw from the outfield for Floyd Reefer. Floyd Reefer. I've done that a number of times this weekend. I know 3 different Reefers: Floyd Reefer, Leslie Reefer, the umpire, Raymond Reefer, the cricketer, all 3 from Barbados.
Said I have one of those that I've been trying not to do all week as well. I'm not going to mention it because I've got a perfect game going right now. So whenever he gets out in the second innings, I'll talk about it.
Right.
3 left to face here for Abhishek Paradkar and Vikash Mohan. It is the lefty on strike, 10 off 10. That one's a bullet in the direction of Shahan Jayasuriya, but another single here. And talk about tight bowling here from Yusuf Zazai against a unit that certainly demonstrated their desire to accelerate and to finish with a flourish in that last over against Reefer. Unable to express themselves here.
Last 2 balls. You're going into the last 2 balls of over 20, only having conceded 3 runs from that over. This is excellent stuff. Both of these batters can hit big, Abhishek Paradkar and Vikash Mohan, but they're being kept quiet here.
Looking for the reverse scoop and executed almost perfectly. Didn't quite middle it, and it will be chased down at the boundary by Naman Patil. So just 2. Good work by the fielder at fine leg. And a good idea with him pulled in from Vikash Mohan, but just doesn't quite middle it and get enough to send it to the rope.
You're exactly right that with fine leg inside the circle, a scoop is always on. If you have that shot in your repertoire, it's not a bad idea to use it. But to me, that looked like a pace-off delivery. Had that been pace-on, it would have gone all the way to the boundary. Pace-off, only 2 more runs.
So 164 for 6, could reach 170. If he can send this one deep. East Bay have already ended 1 innings here in Grand Prairie this week with a 6 and an exclamation point. What does Vikash have here against Yusuf Zazai? Final ball of the first innings. Looking for that same shot, and he's going to run it on the ground to Naman Patil, and a little bit of anticlimax there. Just a single off the final ball, and so East Bay about 15 runs short of the target that their captain set for them to try to give themselves enough room to bump up their net run rate by holding Silicon Valley in check.
It's a good bowling effort from the Silicon Valley Strikers. Floyd, jeez, Raymond Reefer again. I think exhorting his troops to be aggressive in the field. Sometimes that can be kind of difficult in a situation where they don't have the opportunity to go on to the next level. But here you see the batting card. Second from the top, Sujit Gowda, top scoring, 47. Couple of 20s there. Kevin Bandara, 23 from 15. Hizbullah Durrani, 21 from 21. Bikash Mohan and Abhishek Paratkar with a bit of a flourish toward the back end of the innings, the 36-run partnership. But ultimately, I think you wanted a few more runs than what you got for the bowlers.
And a look here at the unit that did restrict East Bay from their bright start. Raymond Reefer, a little on the expensive side, but does take a valuable wicket. One as well for Zazai early in the piece. Patil one late. Those two going at decent economy rates. Zazai, in particular, the pick of the bowlers for me. Shahan Jayasuriya, 2 for 33. That, too, including a absolutely stellar caught and bowled. And Avik Dixit claiming his first wicket in minor league cricket play in his first bowling performance, his first bowling innings. Naman Patil getting his first one of this season as they hold the East Bay Blazers to 165 for 6.
Tremendous effort, I think, as you talked about the fact that the captain wanted 180, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and did not get anywhere near that. Well, we will take a short break, and about 15 minutes or so, we'll see whether or not the East Bay Blazers can come back, or make that the Silicon Valley Strikers can come back and overhaul 166 as a target, send them home with maybe a positive coming out of this weekend or out of this week. I did the same thing that you just did, Joe Hickey. 15-minute break. We'll be right back.
Another look here at our first innings as we get ready to begin our second. The run chase with a target set for Silicon Valley of 166. We'll tell you about other targets that might be of interest along the way. Sujit Gowda leading the way with 47 off 32, leading a charmed life, a pair of drops, including one when he was sitting on a single run. Bandara and Durrani, the authors of a 45-run partnership in the middle that got East Bay to this point. Shehan Jayasuriya taking a pair of wickets, including a lovely caught and bowled. Dixit, Zazai, and Patil as well responsible for taking wickets. It's going to be Yuvraj Samra and I believe it might be Dilpreet Singh Bajwa at the other end of the strip to bat alongside him. Amog Adapalli has had some struggles the last handful of games, a phenomenal Labor Day weekend, but has been in a little bit of a lesser patch. And indeed, it is Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. Thank you for wearing the bright gold helmet. That helps out a ton when you're facing away from me. It's Carmine LaRue to start. His first delivery is a full toss, and that's a long, long run for the captain to chase down, but he will get to it. And a pair of runs here at the start as the card is updating moment by moment. And again, that is Dilpreet Singh Bajwa, certainly not Raymond Reefer.
Yeah.
We've been talking about my occasional mistaking of people that I have no business mistaking for one another. That might be the biggest one yet.
That's one mistake you won't make.
No. Comeback delivery here for LaRue. That is a perfect Yorker. The appeal is sounded looking for LBW, but nothing forthcoming. And LaRue, who has been held wicketless somehow this week, continues to find frustration.
Look at the stare down of umpire Sundaram Subramanian by Carmine LaRue. He's a left-hander. We talked about that a number of times. Bowls beautiful in-swingers to the right-handed batter. I would love to see what this ball was doing. It's the stock delivery from Carmine LaRue to the right-hander that typically threatens the pad or the stumps.
Well, at least according to Sundaram Subramanian, the reason that's not leg before is because there was bat involved, because it's been given as runs.
Oh.
So that'll be an interesting replay to see if we're able to get it in a moment. Yuvraj Samra, meanwhile, the Canadian international, will face his first delivery, all Canadian here in the center. First ball from LaRue, wicketless no more. Edged and gone.
So I just started to say it is a outswinger to the left-hander. He bowls in-swingers to the right-hander, Carmine LaRue. That becomes an outswinger to the left-hander. Only needed to kiss the outer edge. All three deliveries in this over have been pitched up. That's what you want with the new ball. Look how beautifully that ball curls away from the Canadian international Yuvraj Samra. First wicket in the books for Carmine LaRue. 3 for 1 is your score. We talked about the embarrassment of riches that you have here from the left-handed bowling standpoint. Carmine LaRue, absolutely, you will see Faisal Khan Ahmedzai. He'll probably open the bowling. You'll see Abhishek Paratkar later on, to say nothing of the left-arm spinners, Angelo Pereira, the captain himself, Sanjay Krishnamurthy. An embarrassment of riches if you want the ball to be leaving the left-handed batter as a pace bowler or leaving the right-handed batter as a spinner.
As we get another look at the replay, and you can see the celebration of the slip, Sujit Gowda, he's in place for exactly that delivery, but they didn't even need him.
Yep.
The featheriest of feathered edges. Another lefty at the crease. That one's airborne, but it'll fall in front of deep third. But living dangerously right out of the gate is Shehan Jayasuriya in at 3.
I will tell you what, this is almost 2-2. This ball had almost the legs to carry all the way down to deep third, off the edge, genuinely off the edge. We're shielded there just a second. I believe that's Angelo Pereira down there on the boundary who almost took that catch. How big a fish would that one have been?
Third man now up in the circle. No, rather pushed back on the other side because it's the righty, Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. That one hit with some authority. A lovely drive into the covers, and that will be a 4, first boundary of the day for Silicon Valley.
Well, you're searching for swing. That's why you're bowling that length, Carmine LaRue. But if you're searching for swing with a full length and have it too wide, that becomes a hittable ball. So you want to be looking for swing, but you want that ball maybe starting on a fourth stump line, curling into Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. If it's going to be wide of the crease, then that presents scoring opportunities. Look at this length.
As we're back to live here as this one's poked down towards square leg. They'll look to take a second. The slide is going to induce a throw, and unable to take the bails off is Saideep Ganesh. Goodness gracious. For a moment there, I thought the slide had been too far, but an excellent throw in terms of at least the power behind it. It was there in time, but a bit wide of Saideep and unable to get back to the woodwork.
So that is the end of over number one, an eventful one. You see the first over by Carmel Leroux.
Ten for one through over number one, an eventful one there, a boundary. A wicket and a whole lot of running. Rushil Ugarkar will be bowling the first over from the race course end. To give you a sense here, we mentioned the target is 166 to win for Silicon Valley, but East Bay are going to be looking at roughly 147 as the bare minimum, or I guess in their case, bare maximum, that they can allow. They need a win by enough to give themselves a chance to pass Kings 11 Dallas if the home team here in the Super 8s can pick up an upset and keep it close. First delivery from Ugarkar, that's down leg and is run back behind. There is protection there. However, at that position, Abhishek Paradkar able to keep it to just a single run.
Rushil Ugarkar, I think, correctly staying over the wicket to Shehan Jayasuriya. But that delivery on his body, that becomes an easy scoring delivery. Just getting inside the line, working it down to fine legs. So you want that ball from over the wicket to be ending up on off stump. That would be a better line of attack for him.
Slip in place as well for Rushil Ugarkar. Dilpreet Singh Bajwa to face. That's that one into the ground and back behind. Kevin Bandara quick to it. Deep protection, it would appear, at fine leg and backward square. Or correction, third man and backward square. Dilpreet with a lone boundary so far. But a lot of running between the wickets in that first over. That one fended at, and for the briefest of moments, thought wicket number two had just fallen. Something about when you make that attempted shot, it'll even create the illusion for a commentator of, ooh, I think I saw a deflection, and maybe a little deviation on that. Just excited to yell. That one is an edge. No, it's a bail trimmer. And it's the end of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. My goodness, we saw that one pop up. Thought it might have been off the bat, but the reaction of Rushil Ugarkar makes it clear it's off the top of the stumps. It removes the bails, and there's your second wicket down.
Just playing down the wrong line, Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. It pretty much was just a straight ball. That front foot was grounded at the crease, did not come across to the line of the ball, so he does not get to cover the line. And unfortunately, just playing down the wrong line, that kisses the off bail for the second wicket. Look at this again. Look at his front foot. Can't see from that angle. Look at the front foot when you see the next replay. Not really getting it. Watch your front foot. Stuck on the crease. It does not come across. You want that front foot to be coming across to the line. And when you don't do that, you're at the mercy of how accurate you are with the bat. In this case, he played down the wrong line and lost his off stump.
And so both of your Canadian openers are on their way back to the shed. Rushil Ugarkar strikes for his first today, and Silicon Valley looking to East Bay rather looking to make early inroads into this lineup and get as high of a net run rate when this is all over and done with as possible. So the calculations I did indicate Dallas could get as low as about .35 if they end up, let's say, conceding 130, then scoring 130 and winning by super over. That's really about the low end of what's realistic for their net run rate if they win and induce this three-way tie. And to get there, East Bay need to hold this team under 150. And everything below that will be gravy and cushion. First delivery to the new batter, Cameron Hotak, as it's going to be a pair of left-handed sticks at either side of the crease for the strikers. It's a dot delivery since that single conceded. 4 dots on the trot. And the wicket of Dilpreet Singh. Vikash Mohan is your slip. Hotak, an opener for most of last season for Silicon Valley. Gets bat on ball on that delivery, but it'll be a 5th dot in a row from Ugarkar. 2 of them on either side of the wicket of Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. Massive over for for East Bay, as they look to restrict the rate in this chase. 12 for the loss of 2. Make it 11. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the interviews from earlier today at the toss when we got a chance to talk to both of the captains. Well, perhaps we'll take a look at that in between a different pair of overs here. At this point, Carmine LaRue coming back, and you don't want to miss a moment of this. As LaRue has that one off the foot, the appeal is not going to be acknowledged. Mostly seemed to be coming from Saideep Ganesh behind. Might have been going down leg, and Carmine would have a great view of whether that was the case.
So it is relatively uncommon for the left-handed Carmine LaRue, who's bowling in-swingers, or make that outswingers to the left-hander, to get LBWs, because the ball is swinging so much that it's either missing off stump or possibly going down leg, or it's pitching outside leg.
Goes for a little bit of a bouncer. That's a quick run to be taken and may have been in a lot of trouble with a direct hit. It's going to be an extra run via overthrow as that gets by Rushilu Ugarkar in the circle, backing up. But a absolutely dicey run there and a scary moment for Silicon Valley.
Dicey run indeed. Now, the fielder coming in from point had 1 stump to aim at. Fired, just missing slightly. Well played in the offside, and that look at this throw. I think that bat is in the air. If we have that to see again, that is the definition of not sliding your bat across the crease. Take a look at this. Look at the bat when the runner is coming down. It is in the air, and there's a fair amount of room between the bat and the ground. And had that been a direct hit, he would have been gone.
And just unnecessarily prolonging the amount of time you have for a run out there, because his bat was across the line. It just wasn't on the ground. 2 dots following that pair of runs from LaRue.
I'd want to look at that one more time, because, again, for me, these are normal disciplines that most cricketers at this level should know. The bat cannot be in the air. That's the reason why your coaches tell you you have to slide that ball across the line. The bat out in front of you essentially wants something attached to you, whether your body or the bat crosses the line you're in, to use a baseball phrase, safe territory. But if the bat is in the air, you're not in safe territory.
Opening up and accessing the offside. Long run for the captain. He will get to it. Ball doesn't have quite enough juice to make it to the rope. Another pair of runs here for Silicon Valley.
Boy. 1 ball remaining here in over number 3. And Carmine LaRue, I think, bowling a really good spell. 14, a little bit more expensive than you normally see him, but that wicket, he'll be buoyed by the taking of that wicket.
Diving attempt in the circle, but unable to keep it there, and that looks like it might be the first boundary. Taking its time, but does eventually reach the rope. And so with those 4 runs added to the total, 19 for 2 through 3 overs. Lovely shot there from Shahan Jayasuriya, showing you what he is all about.
Yeah, just helping that one through that offside Shahan Jayasuriya. That's the long side of the ground. We keep talking about the imbalance today between the leg side and the offside. But even with the long side, it had enough legs to get to the boundary. 3 overs in the books, 19 for 2.
One more look at that ball rolling its way to the boundary. First one here in the innings of Shahan Jayasuriya. Rashilu Gadkar continuing from that side. First delivery a little Q-ended, and it will be chaseable for the fielder out in the deep. That is the sub-fielder Arnav Iyer. Another pair of runs. So far, Silicon Valley have been operating in a lot of doubles to this point.
Operating with a lot of doubles. Maybe it's because we haven't had lunch yet. Doubles is an absolute delicacy in Trinidad, and that just makes me hungry.
Sorry about that. Just 17 overs to go. One dancing away from the edge of Kamran Hotak. It's just going to have you rooting for lots of wickets or lots of quick runs right now. Feed me Seymour. Gadkar gave up just a single run off the bat in his first over and took that wicket, the bail trimmer. To dismiss Dilpreet Singh Bajwa. 6 dots out of his 8 balls as he steams in for this delivery. That one on the ground. Hotak thinking about it. Jayasuriya has gone nowhere. Throw is quickly down to Saidip's end, but the finger will stay down from the square leg umpire. No communication there. Hotak was halfway down, and I don't think that East Bay quite realized it in time. Get another look here at the replay. Nice ball there on leg stump, and you see Hotak desperately wanting that single. Throw comes in. There is the sliding of the bat, and there is how you get yourself home safely.
By definition, that is how you do it, and that's what you want to see when the runners are running between the wickets. Yes, scoring in cricket can be relatively straightforward, but you still have to do the basics properly, and you saw evidence of it there.
It's like an instructional video. Here's how not to, here's how to do it.
Exactly.
Swing and a miss. That one rising up a little bit on Kamran Hotak, who remains rooted to the crease. Had the 2 on the first delivery, but 3 dots on the trot. And this was largely what Silicon Valley had a hard time doing, was stringing together dot deliveries throughout their innings to create that pressure. Really, the biggest thing that seemed to create pressure was the drinks break that led to a wicket on either side of it. Maybe just being really excited for getting the drink to begin with, and then, of course, having your concentration interrupted. Deep men at backward square and third here. That is going to be run down towards third man. Carmine LaRue up with it. It breaks the string and a single for Kamran. That'll bring Shahan Jayasuriya on strike to face the final ball of this 4th over. Movement in the field for Jayasuriya, despite it being a lefty-lefty partnership. Still movement between balls. Deep protection now at backward point and backward square. And Shahan is going to find the empty space between the mid-wicket fielder and the mid-on fielder, and that is going to be hard enough and well-timed enough to make its way to the rope. So 4 runs to finish. Second over running here that is finished with a boundary stroke off the bat of Jayasuriya. This time around, just seeing the field manipulated to try to stop him, decides to take what's available to him. We're going to take a moment here between overs to hear what Raymond Reefer, Silicon Valley Strikers captain, had to say before the toss. All right, Ray. So you've elected to bowl first here. Your team generally a club that has been a little more comfortable this week, notwithstanding setting a total and defending it. Any reason for the change in strategy today?
I just thought that our batting wasn't really up to scratch when we batted first, so we just tried to change it up today. Hopefully we just restrict them for as least as possible, and then hopefully the mindset now will be better for chasing.
Okay, and you have chased in the 2 matches you've had so far with East Bay. Haven't been able to quite get it done, even very bright starts. How do you make sure that that wobble in the middle doesn't happen today and you can end 2025 with a little joy against your rivals?
I mean, there's 6 phases of this game. With the bat and with the ball, there's the power play, middle overs, and the back end of the innings. So I just think if we win at least 4 to 5 of those phases, we'll definitely win the game. So we're just going to try that today.
Okay, and any changes to the squad from yesterday?
Yeah, we got 3 changes. We got some young guys coming in. Naman Patel, Advit is coming in, and Tarun is back in as well.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing it. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll have a... And of course, we go to the video stock, and the action all happens, and we saw a near run out in each of the last 2 overs. They finally get one, and Carmine LaRue has decided he'll take wickets any way he likes today after being held wicketless in 8 overs, and he'll dismiss Shehan Jayasuriya on that one. Mix up in the middle, and Carmine hits the timber from the other end of the pitch.
Shehan Jayasuriya, 14 from 9. Remember, he had that first delivery that was played into the offside out to deep third and was almost caught. Scores 14 more runs, but here is a wonderful piece of fielding by Carmine LaRue himself. Look at him run down the pitch on his follow-through and get here, pick up and fire. His momentum is taking him down the track, but he does well. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why you slide your bat, but not even sliding of the bats could have saved Shehan Jayasuriya. And how about umpire Sundaram Subramanian being in the right place, square of the wicket, to be able to make that call? So, a good piece of cricket all the way around, athleticism, and that results in the second, make that the 3rd wicket of the day inside the power play, 26 for 3.
And Carmine LaRue there, you see, managing to kiss the top of leg stump with a delivery even when he is backpedaling. It's actually not the first time I've seen him do that and get a run out that just happens to hit that, storied spot as the next delivery to the new batter at the middle. Or excuse me, no, it's the same batter at the middle because Jayasuriya was the non-striker, which always feels strange to say when it's the strikers. But it is still Common on Hotak on strike. And another dot delivery here. 3 of those to start this over. And the big run out.
And we're staying with the steady attack of left-handers. It is Raymond Reefer, the captain, who is at the non-striker's end. And he will be very irritated by what he saw happen. Look, they're going full attack. 2 slips.
Another one through to the keeper there. And Commandant Hotak putting down his bat almost in dejection at that point, struggling to find the willow appropriately. You saw the little... body language and frustration, the swing after the shot that may have been part of what distracted Jayasuriya and had him coming down the pitch on the run out.
I noted that, and I wondered the exact same thing. It maybe adds to a little bit of the confusion. There's a whole lot going on. The bowler's coming through on his follow-through, and that may have been just that piece that set you over the top.
This ball's airborne. Looks like it will find green pastures between long on and long off. Arnav Iyer's not going to beat it to the rope. And that is a 4 here off of LaRue. He has conceded a fair few boundaries en route here, but 1 wicket as a bowler, 1 as a fielder so far as we see that pickup shot.
Yeah. Shortish, still looking for the fuller delivery, but able to go back onto the back foot this time. Cameron Hotak and go down the ground off of Carmine LaRue.
Hotak will face every delivery of LaRue's 3rd over of work. This one is an edge that will be chased down brilliantly by... No, never mind. It got under his hand. I couldn't quite see where the ball went. My mistake. I was very excited about that for a moment. But no, it's another 4. We'll see here. Is it unfair? Maybe. Yeah, I don't think you can quite call that a misfield. He's at full stretch there trying to bring that inside the rope.
Not at all a misfield. So that is the end of over number 4. We will go really quickly back to the pre-toss interview to see what Sanjay Krishnamurthy had to say.
Krishnamurthy, so you guys are going to be put into bat. Is that what you would have done yourselves, or is that going to require a slight change?
No, we were looking to bowl as well, given that there's a bit of grass on the surface, as well as we want to try to win with the big net run rate today.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Yeah, to what extent that net run rate is on your minds here. Obviously a little easier to chase a target quick than to have to restrict. Given that, how big of a total do you think you need to put in to make those inroads here as you take the field first with bat in hand?
If I were to put a number on it, I'd say we're looking for north of 180, but we'll see.
Okay, any changes in the squad for today?
No, we're playing the same team.
All right, well, thank you very much, Sanjay.
Thanks.
First delivery here from Faisal Khan Ahmadzai cuts Raymond Reefer in half. As we enter the final over of this power play, and we've of course seen Sanjay Krishnamurthy quoted the 180. They didn't quite get there. Earlier when we heard from Raymond Reefer, who just nearly got eviscerated by that first delivery, he mentioned the phases of the game and needing to win a certain number of them, as the next delivery is lofted into the covers. That will be chased down at the rope and flipped by Arnav Iyer to Anji Pereira. Singles off the first 2 balls, even if the first one was in self-defense. Rather, a single and a double. But your thoughts here on phase by phase. Let's start with the one happening in front of us. What are your thoughts on Silicon Valley on this one? Have they won this? Have they pushed it? Or is this an East Bay power play?
I think East Bay will be the happier side as of right now. 3 big wickets. You've seen the back of Shehan Jayasuriya, which is a huge development. He has been the glue that's held the middle order together in all of the matches that we've seen, and some of the ones that I've watched virtually from your broadcast out west. Seeing the back of him is something that would have buoyed this side. Your big fast bowler, Carmine LaRue, has been a little bit more expensive than you'd like, but you like the 2 wickets that he's taken, one officially, one unofficially, I should say. And this young pacer, Faisal Khan Ahmadzai, I think is looking really good. For some reason,
wow.
There's a scoop shot being attempted by Cameron Hotak off of this pace bowler. I don't know that that's the best option right now.
Yeah, maybe a little unhappy with the current pace of accumulation. He's sitting at 13 from 16, but yeah, maybe a little of over-invention here. Faisal hums it up there pretty quick. In the first innings, I think unequivocally East Bay wins the power play, 50 for 1. Mm-hmm. Middle overs, 71 runs scored, roughly a little under 9 and over, but 3 wickets lost. Where would you have scored that one?
I can score it in a vacuum, or I can score it in the context of what each team wanted to have coming in. In a vacuum, I would give credit to the bowling side, to the Silicon Valley team. However, if you are the East Bay Blazers and you knew that there's different permutations and not everybody has the Joe Hickey calculation, essentially they don't have the opportunity to do all the calculations that you can, but somebody in the management team would have said, hey, maybe that 180 is the minimum of what we need to be looking for. We don't know what will happen later on. We need to put ourselves in the best position to be the ones taking the flight to Morrisville. From that standpoint, I think East Bay would have been disappointed.
Okay, so at that point you got it 2-1 in favor of the Blazers, and we've got the death overs as well. Those went, again, at just under 9s. 44 runs from the 5 overs, 2 wickets taken. For me, that one, I think, somewhat decisively Silicon Valley, because you're waiting for that explosion. Only 4 wickets down going into the death, still with some pretty useful bats out there. And so that would seem to be at the moment level on points. 2 phases to the strikers, 2 to the Blazers, even if one of those is a little on the subjective side and certainly taking a lot of other things into account. It's an awful lot riding on this match.
I would completely agree with that characterization.
1 ball left here in the power play. We'll see if Silicon Valley can make a little noise on the last ball and upset any of our rankings, but they will do no such thing. Dot delivery to finish, and that is the end of the power play. Silicon Valley Strikers 38 for 3.
$38 for 3 after 6, end of the power play. And you don't see this happen very often, that the opening fast bowler bowls all 4 of his overs on the trot, but that's exactly what you're seeing here from Carmine LaRue. Joe Hickey, how do you feel about that strategy, bringing your big guy on to bowl all 4 overs up front?
I think you're of the mindset right now. He's in a nice vein of form. He's getting results today that have been evading him this entire week so far. If you can get Raymond Reefer out of there early, that is worth its weight in gold. That is how you put up a big margin of victory and move that net run rate needle, as basically that is the main thing on their mind right now. Winning it, that kind of goes without saying. You got to do that, but you got to win it big. And that, I think, is the key to really starting to get the dominoes to fall.
I would not mind asking you, Joe Hickey, to just wax poetic for as long as you need to about where we are now and what the different permutations are. You'll get 4 runs. That is not going to please. What happened here?
Wait, no, I believe we have a run out.
He's given out. Oh, the throw from point actually hit the stumps and it is dismissed. Oh my goodness. Is it Reefer who's out? My apologies, I missed that. Was it Cameron Hotak?
It seems to be Cameron Hotak walking off dejectedly. Definitely need to take a look at that. That looked like a giant nothing burger, and then all of a sudden was this. And again, Hotak kind of holding the pose. His body language and concentration have been interesting over here. That ball, it does indeed hit the bottom of the stump, and the bat is again in the air, not dragging it. He might have been short of his ground either way, but not helping his cause, and the bail does come off.
If there had been one less coat of varnish on that stump, it would not have been dismissed. It just barely shaved the bottom of the off stump. Throw coming from square of the wicket from point. That is not easy to do. And unfortunately, if you're Cameron Hotak and you get dismissed that way, you pretty much throw your hands up and say, I guess I wasn't meant to bat very long today.
Well, I'll say this. It looks an awful lot, if you remember our game on Tuesday night, like all those runouts that the Kingsmen were supposed to get against Silicon Valley
yes.
are happening now.
Okay, so what I started saying earlier, and I was teeing this up because I can't think of a better person to ask this question to. Essentially, I want to just wind you up and let you loose on where you think what points need to, or what the net run rate calculations need to look like, what each of these teams will be thinking, what are the ramifications for later on this afternoon. Any and all of that, would love to hear.
All right, well, for East Bay, we said kind of at the start of the second innings, got to be at least 20 runs worth of cushion when they win this game, if they win this game, in order to give themselves a chance to stay ahead of Kings 11 Dallas on net run rate. Tonight's game, it's simple for the Chicago Kingsmen. They win it, they're 3-0, they're in. But if they lose it, you've got 3 teams at 2-1, and it comes down to that tiebreaker, which is essentially sort of a representation of average margin of victory, if you want. And at this point, with East Bay, if they were to get that 20-run victory, they would need Dallas to win, but by almost nothing. They would need them to win in a super over, probably, to go through. Any decent margin of victory, that would be all for Dallas. So what we're looking at here is the bigger the margin of victory in this game for the Blazers, the more cushion they have. And it would mean the bigger a victory Dallas would need to get through. That is the path for the Blazers to make it to the final, is win big here and have Dallas beat Chicago, but not by enough. What is enough? We'll know that after this game's done. How was that?
I will say, and I said this earlier, if you need to have this conversation broken down into bite-sized chunks that can be understood, you can do much worse than asking an actual college professor to do all of that, which was just what you heard from the great Joe Hickey. Joe Hickey, that helps a lot. So, we'll know more details as this game plays itself out. Clipped away into the deep. It should just be two, in fact, just one. Abhishek Paradkar down there. So, look, you have a long way to go here. Yes, and I did ask you to go through all of that explanation just now, but let's just take the context of points and net run rate and all of that out of the equation for the moment. Where do you see this game itself headed?
I mean, certainly a big-time advantage East Bay Blazers right now. They're starting to run out of bats. Recall that Pranay Suri is not waiting there in the wings in this match. It'll instead be Naman Patil, who certainly can hit a ton but has not had a lot of experience. You've got Avik Dixit down there. That's not somebody who's had a whole lot of experience. He has batted against this East Bay side, but not to great effect in the late going of a pretty resounding Blazers victory. So as they start to run out of available bats, they're going to find themselves, maybe a little bit in the situation from last night where you're looking at one partnership, and if you can break through it, you're good to go. Last night that never happened. Hamad Azam and Hassan Khan got some amazing things done. Right now you've got Adepali out in the middle as an opener that is being slid down the order a little bit from some struggles. He'll be looking to prove himself here. That one's just over the hand of LaRue. But I think the big thing is Silicon Valley not running out necessarily a full-strength team, and that is really going to affect how many wickets are necessary. I would imagine 2 more sometime in the next 6 overs, and it's just about curtains for this team.
And you remarked off-air that Dallas would not have been thrilled with the fact that that there's a less than full-strength side. Now, having said that, the Silicon Valley Strikers would have known coming into today that there is no way that they can make it to make it on the plane to Morrisville, North Carolina, this coming weekend. I actually don't mind seeing some of the youngsters who have not been taking part in the tournament so far get their chance to shine on the last game of the tournament for them.
No, I can't argue with that from the perspective just of this team and the development that they're trying to do, giving them that moment. Another chance and another direct hit, but this time for sure late. It'll just be a bit of furniture repair and no further drama here.
Boy, how sharp does this team look in the field. Pouncing on that one. Look at this direct hit from about a 45-degree angle, hits middle stump. That, ladies and gentlemen, is brilliant cricket. End up over number 7, 42 for 4. So 7 overs in the books. Carmine LaRue is done with his spell. He will remain on the field for the moment. If you follow the way things go in modern cricket these days, I would not be surprised to see a substitute fielder come take his place. The big man can put his feet up for what he hopes will be a trip to Morrisville, North Carolina for the finals this coming Sunday. Maybe, Joe Hickey, another thing that I can ask you to talk about, because I know you're paying attention, is the match, maybe the 2 matches that are happening in North Carolina today.
Well, I know we saw a rough start for the New Jersey Stallions, but I actually haven't looked at it in a bit, as that one scoots away from Ganesh, and that's going to be 5 wides on the first delivery from Abhishek Paradkar.
Yeah, bonus runs there. The 1 wide because it was outside of that guideline that the umpires used to determine a fair delivery. And then 2 wide for the keeper, Sadeep Ganesh, to be able to get to it.
Well, To answer your question earlier, by the way, that rough start did not stop. New Jersey Stallions bowled out for 89 in 18 overs, and the Baltimore Royals chased that down for the loss of 3 wickets in 13.2. So, Royals have absolutely taken command there and in search of maybe a potential all-royalty final.
Lovely looking shot into the outfield there from the captain. Raymond Reefer almost did it again. Raymond Reefer now 3 from 4.
That's right. I realized I can mention the one I've been trying to avoid, which is calling Yuvraj Samra Yuvraj Singh.
Now, I go all the way back to, I don't know, sometime in the late 1970s when I learned all the different phrases of English literature. This is a very alliterative partnership, Amogar Pali and Raymond Reefer.
I like it. I like it. And certainly taking on East Bay, who start you off with Saideep, Sujith, and Sanjay.
This is true. So the leading wicket taker, as you've pointed out a few times, Joe Hickey, inside or in the minor leagues this season. Haven't gotten a chance to see much of him in this part of the country unless you're actually actively looking for highlights or for action from the West Coast. But your thoughts about him, Abhishek Paradkar, as a cricketer overall?
I mean, just somebody who we are seeing growing by leaps and bounds at this point, and the confidence has been through the roof this year, whether it's with bat or with ball.
Oh, that is a lovely shot by Raymond Reefer. The best thing about that shot to me is the fact that he moved maybe 2 feet out of his crease after he played the shot. He knew where it was going.
Yeah, always best to conserve energy. It's really, really hot out there. 50 up on that 4 from the captain.
Oh,
that is exquisite.
What did I say yesterday? Nothing better looking to the eye than a left-hander driving through the covers. That's what you see right there from the captain.
It's often true in baseball as well that the left-handers seem to have the prettiest swings.
You brought it up. Prettiest swing in baseball. I think you're going to say the same name that I would have said.
Well, who are you going with?
Oh, no. I'm asking you. I asked the question first.
Goodness gracious. I'd probably go with Ken Griffey Jr.
Exactly.
Okay, good. All right, we agree with each other.
The most beautiful baseball swing, obviously, that doesn't work quite as well on a cricket field unless you're talking about a bouncer that is around chest height.
Saw a couple of those yesterday.
Yes. But, boy, he had such a beautiful swing. Now, having said that, let's take it back to cricket. Best sight that you like to see in cricket in terms of a batter. I want to know who you think is most pleasing to the eye.
Oof, I might need the overbreak to think that one through here. I got a couple of candidates.
Sliced away, diving attempt, not able to get to it. It goes for 4. Oh, no, it does not. Great piece of fielding down there at the boundary. Get a couple of runs. I'm like a dog on a bone. You're not wriggling out of this one. I want to know who the answer to that question is.
Oh, man. I will tell you, and it's a very recent one, and admittedly, I don't have quite as much cricket watching experience as you would, but but goodness gracious, I got to say, as he has started to develop into a legitimate opening bat for New Zealand, Rachin Ravindra, there's something about that kid. I really, really enjoy him. Got a great look at him here in MLC as well, playing here at Grand Prairie, playing over at Oakland Coliseum with the Freedom. That's somebody who, at least in recent times, is jumping immediately to mind for me.
There is one answer and one answer only to the question that I just asked you.
Let her rip.
Brian Charles Lara. End of discussion.
I need to get myself on YouTube and get a real taste of that.
You need to spend a good 10 hours watching some highlights of Brian Charles Lara in action.
That sounds like something I'd do.
And I'm sure it would be. Is he the best batter that the West Indies has ever produced? He's in the conversation. I would put Viv Richards ahead of him, but not by a whole lot. But just in terms of how he looks, how easy on the eye he is, that is the only answer to that question. Oh, he wears this one Raymond Reefer off of the left shoulder, and he's not going to be very happy. And he's very irritated at that. He knows it was a mistake and coming right over to apologize. You love to see that from Angelo Pereira, but that's very firmly struck. I believe it's almost on the left bicep, so that will not feel very good.
It is useful, as we've noted there, that he seems to have a little more of that even than he did beforehand. You were noting a
Yes.
little bit of little bit of bodybuilding going on there from Raymond Reefer.
The padding is there.
Yeah, but a bit of repair necessary here. Luckily, not a lengthy process. Seems to be striding right back into his space here. End of 8 overs. Silicon Valley 57 for 4.
Over number 9, it is Vikash Mohan to start. So a bit of an expensive last over. 15 runs came from it. And Vikash Mohan looking to see how he can pull things back a little bit here. Now, the urgency to do that may not be there necessarily because of where you are in the match. That's a good looking shot to backward point. That is going to be Raymond Reefer, who, luckily for him, appears to be okay. That shot is off the back foot, so the left hand would have been the one that was mostly operational. And so that to me tells me that his tricep, which is I think what that was struck there, should be fine. And that looks perfectly fine. Straight down the ground, 4 runs for Raymond Reefer.
See, I thought what you were going to ask me was what my favorite shot was after we talked about the cover drives.
All
and
right.
This is right up there for it. A straight drive. Oh, goodness gracious. I prefer the ones that end with the high front arm and you hold the pose, but still, that is nothing too shabby.
Like that one. I'll tell you what. Had he flicked that onto the stumps, that probably finds Amagara Pilot out of his crease.
That probably finds its way onto the Sports Center top 10 is what that does. Oh, man, I really wanted him to let go of that.
Yes. Working it into the leg side here. I want to see that again. I'm thinking if he releases this, that ball crashes into the stumps. And would have, assuming it crashed into the stumps, it would have found Magari Pala short of his crease.
Perhaps after this delivery here, Vikash Mohan been useful here with ball in hand this season for this team. 3 wickets yesterday.
Skied, but catchable. Long run, I said catchable. It actually lands in no man's land just in front of the fielder running in from deep mid-wicket. And I think if the fielder running in from mid-wicket can't get to that one, nobody can. He was in the best position to be able to field that.
That'll bring an end to the over. A couple of singles following up the Raymond Reefer boundary. Good to see the captains in good shape. 9 overs gone. Silicon Valley 65 for 4.
So for the first time this weekend, I'm falling into your trap, Joe Hickey. For the first time this week, Captain Sanjay Krishnamurthy brings himself into the attack, left arm orthodox.
On the season, 10 wickets at about 14.5 runs per. Economy of 5.58.
Are you surprised to see Carmine LaRue still on the field?
Yeah, a little bit. He certainly seemed eager for an exit following his spell. And, yeah, you've no longer got any reason. If you do have somebody who can come out there, maybe somebody who hasn't seen a lot of game time, Suleiman Adabzai, a very easy on the eyes fielder, could absolutely get out there and do a little something for you.
The other thing is Carmine LaRue, tremendous bowler. We've talked about that all week. Not the most fleet-footed, and I don't mean that as a criticism. You don't expect him to be a Remandar in the outfield or an Ali Sheikh, but maybe more so to the point that you just mentioned, the fact that you have some youngsters who've not had much time. If they go on from here, the next match they'll be playing is in the finals. And so you don't expect to blood a youngster in the final. If you want them to have some field time, this will be the time to do it. This time off the back foot, Amalgari Pali gets this one into deep point. So in the context of this game, not a whole heck of a lot happening now, Joe Hickey.
Yeah, that run rate required creeping up towards 9.5s. And so if you're looking at it from the perspective of Silicon Valley winning, it's getting that much harder here, especially already 4 wickets down. As for East Bay, though, they are kind of on a little bit of a knife's edge. You take this score and double it, and they're not going to have much of a window for advancing.
Say more.
Yeah, if you take a look at where they're at the moment, you end up somewhere around 140. That's going to mean that you need Dallas to win, but win by maybe 8 or 9 runs. And so that is a very, very fine window to hit for the good thing to happen for you. They really do need to bowl out Silicon Valley well short of that. Now, the good news for them is that has been the pattern this year, and we'll maybe talk a little bit about that after the drinks break, about what the first 2 matches between these two teams have looked like. We'll go ahead and take it to that drinks break. Silicon Valley 69 for 4 as we hit the halfway point. Halfway point of the chase, 97 runs left for Silicon Valley to get if they want to claim victory for the first time in their last 7 meetings with this East Bay Blazers team. They actually won the first 3 matches of their existence here in minor league cricket, and following a loss, the only one they suffered in 2022, have not beaten their rivals since.
Quick look at the fall of wickets here. This one, clean edge off of the outside edge of the bat from Yuvraj Samara, and then this, to me, that was another replay of that wicket. But look at this run out here. Oh no, that's Urshula Garkar going right through and licking or ticking off the off bail, and then here, A bit of confusion, but it ends up with Carmine LaRue with a beautiful piece of fielding to get that third wicket, then the fourth one you saw earlier. So I'll tell you, it's going to be a tricky passage of play. I want to put a button on the conversation that we're just having, and I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question. Yes, there's a bunch of permutations, but you are more educated than most on the issue. If you had to assign or percentages of chance to get into to get into North Carolina, for the teams who are still in the running, at least from the Pacific Conference, how would you assign those percentages?
I think right at this moment, as we're waiting to see exactly what East Bay is able to put up, I would probably assign 60% Chicago, because all they've got to do is win, and that is all they have done since,
right.
Albeit since losing their opener to Kings 11 Dallas.
I'm hearing DJ Khaled in my mind right now.
But yeah, it probably would go 60% Chicago Kingsmen. I think as it currently stands, probably 20-20 for Kings 11 Dallas and East Bay Blazers, assuming that the Blazers do get the breakthroughs they need here and end this with something on the order of, say, a 40-run victory as opposed to just barely hitting that 20 mark. That'll help. Ball in the air and claimed by Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and that is going to be it. No, that is a bump ball. Dag nabbit. Oh, I got really excited for a second. Oh, no. It's gotten all of us at some point or another, but that was not a great time for it.
I was thinking, okay, I know my eyes are bad, but other than that bad.
I keep talking about that appointment with the optometrist. It's happening. We'll get a look at the replay and see how bad this was. Oof.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
that's bouncing a good yard and a half away from the batter.
That's not great. All right. At any rate, Raymond Reefer survives. Oof. I was saying, though, yeah, 20-20, a lot depending on what East Bay does here. I think if they end up winning this by, say, 50, that is going to put a dent in any cushion they've got here. Amo Adapali liftoff.
Wow. Clean strike.
Absolutely smashed. Echoes of that Labor Day stretch where he was so very dangerous. First boundary for him, first maximum of the innings for Silicon Valley just after the drinks break. And that drinks break has favored them in both of the innings so far here today. That will bring an end to an expensive Akash Mohan over. It goes for 10, 18 so far off his 2. Silicon Valley strikers 79 for 4 through 11. Sanjay Krishnamurthy continues from the racecourse end of the ground. First delivery run back for a single. Again, at this point, 80 for 4. Rush of blood to the head there, thinking that the wicket had arrived right on time. But Raymond Reefer survives. He's sitting on 21 off 18. Partnership at the moment sitting at 42 runs, just over half. Here's another opportunity at a run out. That throw a bit on the high side from Abhishek Paradkar. It is backed up, and it'll just be the single. Krishnamurthy 4 off of his first over of work, both of this match and of the Super 8 phase. And again, that is all this is about, is taking some wickets for East Bay and trying to open up as big of a window as they can. That one finds the gap perfectly off the bat of Raymond Reefer, and neither Faisal nor Karmai can beat it to the boundary rope. 6 off the first 3 balls here from Sanjay. One more look here at the stroke from the captain against the other captain. A bit of a conversation here going on between Barbados and Jamaica. Reefer, the captain, on strike, and the umpire with his back to you, Jermaine Lindo. This one tapped slowly. Ganesh up to it. Very quick footwork out from behind the stumps from Saideep.
Well, just past the halfway stage in terms of the runs needed. 85 the score, 81 needed in the next 51 balls. That should be 2, I would think.
Yep, and comfortably. Yeah, so 9.72 the rate required. Those 2 will eat a little bit into that. If you do lop, say, 25 off of that amount right there to get to the total that the East Bay Blazers are a bit more interested in, that would get you to 54 required off of 8. That starts to feel pretty dicey.
I would agree.
Nice play on the infield there to keep it inside the little dots, and a dot to finish off as a result. So 8 runs coming off that over, half of those lovely 4 off the bat of Raymond Reefer. Silicon Valley 87 for 4 through 12. Here is a visual on those standings we've been discussing, and of course that column just to the right of win percentage, the one that is gaining a lot of discussion. That is your rate of accumulation of runs scored per over faced, minus your rate of concession, runs against, divided by overs bowled. And all 3 of the teams that are currently active to the positive there, but you see the East Bay Blazers trailing quite a bit behind the Kingsmen and Kings 11. And so the work we keep talking about, they need to get done. At least a 25-run victory to have much of a shot at all. Probably needs to be a bigger margin of victory than that, though, to give themselves a legitimate chance and to give themselves as big of a window as possible, so that Kings 11 doesn't claim that spot for themselves by winning by a large enough margin. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai back into the attack. It's going to be a change of ends for him. Bowled his first from the racecourse end, now steaming in from the river end. First delivery is scalded and gets a big piece of Hizbullah Durrani, who is in a heap of discomfort. Gets enough of it to limit it to just a single, but at what cost?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never taken a cricket ball off of the shin, consider yourself lucky, because I believe that's exactly what has happened here. Look at this replay. Hammered, cut really hard, and bang. Either the shin or the knee. Either one is very, very painful. Ball was traveling. He hammered it. Absolutely hammered it. You see how gingerly he's moving around on the field now. He's a warrior. He's going to stay out there, but that does not feel very good at all.
We'll move to the other side here as the righty-lefty partnership continues. So that's not out of the firing line.
Like a fine leg, please, if you don't mind.
That's the point where you're happy to make that walk potentially. Well, maybe not overjoyed because you're doing it on a leg and a half. But
This is true. Oh my, yeah, that would have not felt good at all.
Reefer back on strike, 27 off 22. He has hit 3 balls to the boundary rope. That delivery is going to be a 4th, as it's just wide of the glove of Saideep Ganesh. And runs all the way, fine of Carmine LaRue.
Raymond Reefer trying to get that through the extra cover area. Genuine edge, just a little bit too wide of the keeper, who was diving away to his left side. Saideep Ganesh not quite able to get to it. And it goes away for 4. By the way, this pair has quietly put on 50 runs. We'll make that now 54 runs for the 4th wicket unbroken as we speak.
Indeed, came in at 38 for 4, and now Faisal has ended the partnership right there. Kisses the outside of off stump, and Raymond Reefer's got to go. And as Silicon Valley were beginning to put some pressure on this East Bay bowling attack, Faisal looks to relieve it. 5th wicket down, half the side in the shed. And Raymond Reefer, that is a big man, metaphorically and literally, to see the back of here.
Oh my goodness. Good, sharp, quick delivery. We talked about the battery of left-arm pacers. the benefit of having a Faisal Khan Ahmedzai is his pace. Look at this. Very quick and just short of length, hitting the top of leg stump. Raymond Reefer probably wants to be playing that one a lot straighter. And look at him walking off just there. He played the shot walking off, which is the one that he should have played to the actual ball. So there's a saying in cricket that says the rehearsed shot is always better than the shot you actually played. I think you saw evidence of it there. That one, he could have helped it into the leg side, maybe to mid-on, maybe just wide of mid-on. That would have been a better option. So the Jamaican departs, make that the Bajan departs, and the Jamaican arrives, Gary Graham.
And certainly plenty of boom boom here, but we have mentioned his travails dealing with lefty pace, and that is what he's going to have to face straight away. And it is pacey lefty pace from Faisal. One more look here at the dismissal. And yes, indeed, cutting across the line of the ball and just beaten for pace as well. Faisal Khan hurries it up there. And that's an edge, and what a take by Saeed Ganesh! 2-2 for Faisal Khan Ahmedzai. And he's got the 2 Caribbean power bats on their way to the shed. Credit to Faisal, but massive credit to Saeed Ganesh, one of the top wicket keepers and dismissals in this league. And he showed you why right there. The reflexes, and sometimes they just stick.
Oh my goodness. First of all, let's give credit to you for pointing out Gary Graham's struggles with left arm pace. But even if you were not struggling with left arm pace, this is very close to being unplayable. Pitching on a good length at pace and moving away off the seam. Look at this. That movement off the seam is what does it. Gary Graham had no choice but to play at it, and the ball catches the outside edge. And look at the catch taken by Saeed Ganesh. Diving away full stretch to his right, maybe 6 inches off the turf, one-handed, tremendous effort from Saeed Ganesh.
So I need to get this in before it potentially comes true, but I mentioned before the shape of the Silicon Valley Strikers innings over the course of their matchups with East Bay. They have been ahead of the game, or at least good and level with East Bay, up to about the 10th over in both chases so far this season, but they lost 7 wickets for 39 runs in 48 balls to finish off game 1, and lost 6 wickets for 33 in 49 balls to lose game number 2. So the economy is absolutely nasty as they just take wickets left and right, and you're constantly looking at new batters. The new one here, Tado Nadada, has to face down a hat-trick ball. Gets enough of that to guide it to the vacant area at square leg. And the hat-trick ball navigated. We do not have a 13th here in minor league history just yet.
My goodness, that was absolutely brilliant. Yes, the ball to Raymond Reefer was a delivery that was pretty straightforward, and I think he just played the wrong shot to it here. But there's the replay on that shot just now. But the one to Gary Graham, to me, is unplayable. It pitches on probably off stump from over the wicket, so you have to play at it. And then it deviates off of the seam going toward the slips, and a great catch by the keeper.
And that'll be a cut and a miss from Amok Adapali, who was by and large a spectator to the carnage going on at the other end. 2 massive wickets from Faisal Khan Ahmedzai in his return to the attack here in the 13th over. Silicon Valley 93 for 6. So we take another look here at the wickets that fell. That one kissing the top of off stump, and this one the unplayable ball. As our own Brian Walters has said, nothing to be done about that besides hope that you don't actually feather it into the gloves. Take a bow there. That could be a season-changing over from Faisal Khan Ahmedzai, because now you've got both Reefer and Graham in the shed. That was your big lumber. Now, Tado Nadada is no slouch with the bat, and he has put up an 82 earlier this season as an opener. These two, in fact, had early in the year were trading the role of opener back and forth game to game. But it's going to fall to the two of them to A, try to get Silicon Valley home, and B, in the case of East Bay, to try just to spoil their potential party and get enough runs to make it difficult here. Here's a ball rolled to square leg, another quick single taken. This one a fair bit less dramatic than some of the ones we've seen earlier today.
Oh my goodness. There's a whole lot going on. I think you've seen why we've talked all week about the fact that this East Bay Blazers team is such a good bowling attack. They can do it in so many different ways. You're now bowling one of the premier left-arm spinners in the country, and this is the first time he's even needed to bowl. You can make the argument that he doesn't even need to bowl, but this is the first time he's bowled all week. You have not yet seen Angelo Pereira. The left-arm pacers are who, to me, are the most impressive unit in this entire team.
Yeah, three-headed dragon that, and
yes,
breathing fire all over the Silicon Valley strikers. This one will be tapped to the man in the circle, and even those circle fielders creeping in a little bit, looking for one of those edges that might carry, one of those mishits up off the splice of the bat. Looking for the reverse sweep from Tarunadada, but he will not be able to get that through the gap. Nice work by Arnav Iyer down into his left to keep it on the infield.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Arnav Iyer was not part of the 11, correct?
That is correct. Subfielder, although he's been in almost from the get-go. So I don't know that is... I don't think that's in place of Carmi.
No, Carmi is down at long on. That's what I was about to highlight. So did Carmi do something, and that's him there? Did Carmi do something to offend Sanjay Krishnamurthy while he's still out there?
Scratched his car or something, I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
69 runs away from the target here with 37 balls to go. Asking rate for Silicon Valley up over 11s now. And Adada will poke another one out in the direction of the aforementioned Carmi LaRue. Sanjay Krishnamurthy going at just a little under a run a ball, 17 so far from his 3. 6 overs left. Silicon Valley strikers 98 for 6. Another look at all of the wickets to fall so far here. Carmi LaRue getting Yuvraj Samra to nick off. And here, the run out that changed an awful lot in the early going. Carmi LaRue spinning around and dismissing Shahan Jayasuriya. And then later on, it would be Kamran Hotak dismissed after being part of the confusion that led to the Shahan wicket. He goes by run out as well. A very close shave. Speaking of close shaves, that one taking off the top of off stump and dismissing Raymond Reefer. And the 2-2 here. That gorgeous ball across Gary Graham and the stunning snag from Saeed Ganesh. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai in the highlights and now right back into the action. He's got 2 overs left. They will spend one of them here in the middle.
So I'm interested in seeing whether the East Bay Blazers treat this as a warm-up match. Warm-up meaning that, okay, maybe we wanted to win by a gigantic margin and we may not get the chance to, or do they go all out and saying, you know what, we can bowl this team up for 110. Let's try that.
Well, considering they've done it twice in the last 5 weeks and limited them to 109 and a score in the low 130s, this one up on the splice, but it won't stay in the air long enough for Vikash Mohan to get to it.
Brutal delivery. He bent his back on that one, Faisal Khan Ahmadzai. This, you nailed it, is up on the splice. We'll see another replay of that catch. But boy, this short delivery climbs on the batter and it gets probably right up on the bat maker's name, just under the handle of the bat. It was that quick of a delivery. Maybe considering it's up lucky to not be dismissed.
Nervy way to bring up the 100. Another one up in that general vicinity, armpit height, and Tarunadada fights it off.
Boy, so you've seen the pace from Faisal Khan Ahmadzai, 1 over left, Do you bowl him out flat here and get into the bottom of the order by hoping that he can take 1 or 2 wickets with the rest of his spell?
I think given that most of what we've seen from him has been destruction, although he's been pretty economical today in particular, but I think, that's the service he can give you. He went for pretty big runs at the death the other day, albeit against Hamid Azam and Hassan Khan, so good company. That one is going to be fought off and deposited over the top of mid-off, well wide of any protection that might have been in the deep. And there is a 4. And so that is the one concern with Faisal, is that he can go for runs at times.
Well, Amagar Pali says, I've seen enough of this. If you're going to bowl short to me, I have a hard time playing it. But if it's going to be full outside the line of off stump, I'm throwing the bat. Look at this. And I said full. It's not necessarily full. The difference there, ladies and gentlemen, is he bowling around the wicket. I'm not sure why you'd have made that change. Everything that he's done so far destructively has been from over the wicket, and he makes that change to go back over the wicket.
That'll be into the gap at a very wide cover position, and a single on offer there. So not able to dot anything up. The 2 batters, Adada and Adapali, exchanging the strike ably and picking up the 1 loose ball and depositing that for 4. Ahmadzai so far in this phase of the tournament took 2 for 33 on Tuesday against Kings 11. Did not strike and conceded 34 in 4 overs on Wednesday against the Kingsmen. This one's straight back past the bowler. Another single there. So 5 singles on the 4, 9 off of over number 15. We get ready for the nominal death overs here in Grand Prairie. Silicon Valley Strikers 107 for 6.
Last 5 overs coming up. As Joe Hickey said, the nominal death overs are what we're facing here. The first of which will be bowled by the captain. His final over, Sanjay Krishnamurthy. 3 overs, none for 17, so he's been economical without being penetrative, if you will. But maybe at this stage, you look to see how you can take a wicket, wanting to ask the left-hander to hit to the big side. Goes for the reverse sweep. Umpire Jermaine Lindo disagrees with the appeal.
Well, and to your point on the ability to potentially strike for Sanjay, 8.3 his strike rate at the death this season.
That is a very, very close shout. Now, having said that, the fact that he's a left-hander who switched around to play the switch hit, but you decide which is leg stump and which is off stump, as that's lofted into the deep, catchable, straight down the throat of mid-wicket. As I said, asking the left-handers to hit to the big side of the ground, and this results in a wicket. Straightforward catch, wicket number 7, 107 for 7.
Well, there you go. That 8.3 strike rate on the season is going to come down even a little bit further. Sanjay has been absolute money at the death, even though he hasn't elected to bowl himself in this phase all that often. Maybe should reconsider. And strikes here, 7th wicket down. You see the use of the feet to try to get to the pitch, but not in control of the shot, and right down the throat, as you said, of mid-wicket. 3 wickets left, and if East Bay can take them quickly, they'll put themselves in pretty good stead here for tonight.
I don't know if we have time to go back to look at that LBW shout from the very first ball, but I think the reason why that was adjudged to be not out, if there is a switch hitter or a switch hit, in other words, you're right-handed or you're left-handed batter, but you switch around to try to bat right-handed, that's what he did. But the umpire, in terms of determining which is leg stump and which is off stump, you make that decision based on his original stance. So he takes the stance as a left-handed batter. So even if he switches around and tries to play a reverse sweep as a right or switch it as a right-handed batter, it still for me pitching outside of leg stump because it is a left-handed batter. Under edge runs down to deep third. They'll get a couple of runs. Maybe, oh my goodness. Okay, and by get a couple of runs, I mean he fumbles it over the rope for 4. Take a look at this again.
All the hard work done here, the effort from the word go. You can see the hair flapping in the breeze as he goes to chase this down and just gets it stuck. It looks like he bats it into his other hand.
Yep.
And it carries over the rope. Yeah, to your point about the switch hit.
Run out. Oh, comedy of errors. Sanjay Krishnamurthy is not happy. Finish your thought.
Yeah, to your point about that, I was just going to say I have had numerous experiences where all of a sudden I can't figure out what position is anything when they do the switch hit.
Take a look at this. Oh, no. Sorry.
So we're going to take
expecting it to be the LBW shot, but
yeah, a little bit of a double clutch there from Arnav Iyer. If he'd had that clean and gotten it out of his hand, had a really good chance. 3 stumps to fire at and a striker that was absolutely going to be well short of his ground.
Wave and a miss. So 2 balls make that 1 ball remaining here in over number 16. And at the end of the over is when we'll go back and take a look at that LBW shout again. Carmine LaRue still on the field. End of over number 16, 113 for 7. So let's take a look at that LBW shout again. So he's initially a left-hander, but here switches around and is batting as a right-hander there, but the ball pitches for me right there. When the ball pitches there, if it were a right-handed batter, that would have been outside the line, going in toward hitting leg stump or hitting off stump, but because he took his guard as a left-hander, you consider that ball immediately having pitched outside the line of leg stump. Nothing else matters from that point on. It is not out. And I keep talking about the umpires because I think it's important. That is a tremendously difficult job. And keeping up with switch hits and reverse sweeps and all of that, it is extremely hard. But I think umpire Jermaine Linda nails it there.
Yeah, as I said, just about wipes my brain clean every time it happens. It's an area of improvement. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai bowling his final over of his spell from the river end.
Starts out with a single here. Abhishek Paradkar, who's not bowled in a while. He's only bowled 1 over, actually. I'm not sure exactly whether or not we're holding him back for the death. Don't have very many death overs left. He can bowl, in theory, 18 and 20 if it comes down to it. Batters are Naman Patil and Amal Pali.
I mean, perhaps at this point you're thinking to yourself, I want lefty pace. Let's ride the hot hand.
This is true. He hits the bat so hard, Faisal Khan Ahmadzai. This is really high-quality pace bowling.
Absolute express pace. And to good effect so far today. Those 2 wickets, potentially, as we said, season turning if they allow them to restrict Silicon Valley to something in, say, the 130s.
So run a ball from here takes you to 136. But that's assuming you bat out the remaining 22 balls. So do you keep him on? Well, obviously you're bowling him out here. Do you immediately switch to Amagar? My apologies, to Abhishek Paradkar and see if he can add to his tally as being the leading wicket taker in the minor leagues? Or do you do what you highlighted earlier and be Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who puts on the cape and takes more wickets at the death?
Well, Sanjay at this point is unfortunately for that purpose bowled out. But he did get the one before it was too late. The one thing I do want to point out is we haven't seen a ton of Rushilu Garkar. And he may not be striking quite as frequently, but he is holding them right now to 4 runs and over. So that's somebody who could restrict economy even if he doesn't bowl you out right away. You might still come out on the net positive.
Throws from the outfield are bullet-like flat and really, really solid. This team put together, I don't, Joe Hickey, see very many weaknesses. I have to tell you that.
No, it's a phenomenal side. And even some of the young batters that may have had wobbles as they started have grown into themselves. We've seen Hezbollah Durrani stitch together 2 big partnerships in 3 games here today. And even though folks like Suleiman Arabzai and Arnavire haven't seen a ton of run, they have been absolute gun fielders. There's a reason that every single game when they're not in the 11, they are 12 and 13.
Another brutal delivery to close his spell. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai looks really the part. Absolutely looks the part. End of over number 17. The score is 117 for 7. Abhishek Paratka, 1 over, conceded 15, so that probably helps explain why he's only bowled 1 over. Typically a lot better than that with the ball in hand.
And particularly vicious at the death. We mentioned the 8.3 strike rate from Sanjay. Chop that all the way down to 4.5 in the regular season for Abhishek Paratka.
Flash and a miss here. So let's go into detail on his figures. 34 overs, 22 wickets, best bowling of 5 for 15, and I believe you said that included a hat trick, did it not?
Not a hat trick, but he took 5 in the span of 9 deliveries bowled, and yeah, somehow avoided doing 3 in a row in the midst of that, which statistically might be less likely than actually doing
I was
it.
about to say, you'll make the argument, I'd prefer to take 5 in 9 than to take a hat trick. Couple of dots to start over number 18. Economy rate of 6.24 is ungodly. 9.64 as an average is otherworldly. The fact that the hat-trick column says 0, I don't think he cares one bit about that. Neither does Timon Bijonaire.
Well, and those figures that we're rattling off, they're 2nd in minor league cricket in strike rate, 6th in average.
Unbelievable. Off the edge, it is Faisal Khan Ahmadzai down at deep third to help clean up. So 3 deliveries into over number 18. You're only at 118. 48, for what it's worth, you need 48 for victory. I don't think that's in any way likely. If you were looking at the figure that you said earlier, around the 130 to 135, you look like you're itching to say something. What is it?
No. No, I'm just thinking through some numbers myself at the moment, and if you're thinking in terms of the 20-run victory, which was what we said is basically the bare minimum to give yourself any sort of window, so that means 28 is as much as you can give up in these last 15 deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another chance for a run out. Not terribly well managed there. Faisal Khan ends up on his backside, trying to gun that down to the non-striker's end. We'll take a look at this. Seen some rather farcical moments there. Yeah, it gets behind him.
Errors.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, doesn't get the pickup, but then finds it and throws it in one motion.
Right.
Bit wide of the stumps, though, is being kind.
But I'm really interested in hearing you develop that thought. If you're thinking in terms of that 35-run victory, sliced in the air, it's got to land safely, I believe. Yep. Out of reach of the captain, Sanjay Krishnamurthy. A couple of runs. Go, sir.
Yeah, I think you're kind of at a point now to really have any chance. You can't give up much more than another 25, maybe to 27. But everything you do better than that, you're absolutely in business. So it does look like one way or another, unless Silicon Valley really explode here in the final 13 balls, it's going to be a window. The only question now is how quickly can you take these 3 wickets, or how much in check can you keep these 2 batters over the course of 13 balls or 3 wickets.
So the last ball of over number 18 coming up. Abhishek Paradkar, 3 runs conceded in this over so far. Good looking shot to deep extra cover. Should be a couple of runs. Oh, they hesitate. But it is a right-hander running to his left. So huge momentum shift needed to gather himself and be able to throw to the non-striker's end, during which time they do get that second run. So ends up conceding 5 runs. A much better over this time from Abhishek Paradkar. End of 18, 1-2-2 for 7. We'll call his name earlier. Rushil Agarkar, about to bowl the penultimate over of the innings. Rushil Agarkar has bowled 2 overs. The first over that he bowled went for 1 and he took a wicket. Second over conceded 7. So his figures so far 1 for 8 from 2 overs. Bowling now to Naman Patil. Slashed away down to deep third for a single.
Certainly not every day that you might go into a 20th over ahead by 30 and still kind of nervous.
So the formula here, if you are thinking in terms of net run rate, etc., would be to get through these next 2 overs with less than 140 on the board.
Yeah, I think 147 was the one to have any chance, and if you want to open that window up to be like at least a 10-run Kings 11 Dallas victory, yeah, you got to be more like 137.
Slashed away. It's going to be running away for 4 over backward point, so that will help. At least that will help if you are rooting for the Silicon Valley Strikers here. Don't think realistically there's any way that they... Well, let me not say that. In theory, with 10 balls remaining, 39 runs to get, if they hit 10 fours in a row, they win this match.
Or 6 sixes and a 4. All sorts of permutations.
Sure.
That's our thing today.
Yeah. Bouncer. Kind of a tennis shot. Almost looked like you were serving a tennis ball there. Come back and get a couple more here. I would suspect that this is going to be signaled as the one for the over. And the only reason it was not signaled as a wide is because the batter played it. Because this, to me, is about 9 feet in the air.
Yeah, that was a decision.
Not a particularly difficult decision.
I meant the one by the batter.
Okay, gotcha. Smashed. Is it in the gap? It is in the gap and it goes away for 4. Oh no, my apologies. Okay, so full confession from our spot in the commentary booth, we lose sight of the ball if it goes in that direction of the field, and we are taking our cues from everybody else, and let's just say that was just a very long, loud single.
It's okay, at least you didn't say it was a wicket. I've pulled that move myself already today. So Gadkar pulls out of his run up.
So Naman Patil 9 from 10, Amogarapali 37 from 32. Amogarapali in particular, I think, will be at least, if not thrilled, at least satisfied that he's making a good account for himself here. For what it's worth, 36 required from 8. Just wide of Sanjay Krishnamurti. It's going to be Faisalka Nabadzai coming off the ropes at deep extra cover. So you're down now to the last 7 balls. 35 runs needed. Yes, with all the questions about permutations and all of that aside, what are you thinking in terms of how the East Bay Blazers approach these last 7 balls?
I mean, I think you've got to, whatever sorts of fields you're setting, they've got to be looking to limit boundary strokes, because you're at the point now where another 1 or 2 of these and your window is going to be razor thin, and on cue, that one is going to nearly find its way there. Good run from Vikash Mohan, but still a lot of 2s in here and not a single dot in that over. That was not, I think, what they were hoping to get out of Rushilu Garkar in here. They needed something more like that first over with the 1 run and the wicket.
Sure.
They have lost a lot of their wiggle room here. 133, as we said, 147 really the bare minimum. It is going to be a narrow path for them to get their way to Morrisville now.
Last over of the match, Abhishek Paratkar bowling that last over. Smashed away into the deep. Oh, just one bounce to the field at deep mid-wicket. Off the bat, I thought that might have found the gap, but it did not. So single to start over number 20.
We talked yesterday about how the hardest ball to judge the length of when you're a fielder is the one hit right at you. I think for a commentator, it's the one hit directly away from you.
This is so true. So absolutely true. Going into the last 5 here with 134 on the board, there are a lot of people who are sending me different calculations and so on. Varying levels of, let's call it, of, I wouldn't say competences that sailed away over the top of backward point for 4. What I would say is varying levels of objectivity. So 1 or 2 are voicing their opinion. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes the rest of the way. 28 runs, again, for what it's worth, is what separates the Silicon Valley Strikers from victory. But 138 feels like more than you thought they could afford to give up, East Bay Blazers.
Yeah, as I said, it's going to be a razor-thin thing. That last 4 just guarantee that East Bay will have a lower net run rate than Kings 11 going into the night. And so that's why it needs to be such a close result. You need to be averaging one very tiny margin of victory with the ones that Kings 11 have had so far. Their win over Silicon Valley yesterday could be what carries them into the final if they spring the upset.
Another single spooned into the offside area. The sweeper off the boundary on the cover region cleans up. So it may be time for me to just wind you up again and ask you to wax poetic on anything that you think is relevant to the conversation as it relates to this evening's match.
I mean, at this point here, what you're looking at is almost Kings 11 win, they go. Chicago wins, they go. And with this incredibly narrow little strip, where if it's a Kings 11 win by maybe 3 or 4 runs, or in a super over, East Bay could sneak in. But they have spent just about all of the cushion they had here, and if either of these last 2 balls goes for a boundary, it's going to be damn near a wrap.
So then, to go back to a question I asked you about an hour ago, percentage chances from here for each of the 3. And the 3 we're talking about are the East Bay Blazers, the Chicago Kingsmen, and Kings 11 Dallas.
I think you're at 60-39-1.
Wow.
I think that's about where you're at, because it is such a narrow window here. It would have to be an incredibly close game for East Bay to get there, and this one will not make it to the boundary, but it might be a pair. Adipali wanted to come back for it. I am not bullish on the Blazers' chances of being graced by that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it is going to be a very narrow window.
So we're down to the last ball here. Once again, for what it's worth, 25 runs separate the Silicon Valley Strikers from victory, but the East Bay Blazers, while they'll win this game, might be looking to pray for other results later on. In fact, a very narrow window of results, as was explained by the great Joe Hickey. That's a single to square leg, and that is the end of the game. The East Bay Blazers make East Bay Blazers winning by the margin of 23 runs. 142 for 7 is where the Silicon Valley Strikers end up. Amoga Aripali ends with 45 from 36. Naman Patil 12 from 14. Make that 13 from 14. You see on the full scorecard, just never able to generate anything of note. 14 and 14 from Shane Jasuria, Cameron Hotak. High score, Amoga Aripali. Raymond Reef for 31 from 24, but not much else beyond that.
And Amogarapali there, the big 45 for him, might well be a total here that takes his former team that did not give him a run out in MILC in 2 years as a youth player. Might take away their chance of heading to Morrisville. Look at the Blazers bowlers here. Carmine LaRue, bright early, but a lot of boundaries off the late balls in his overs. In fact, in that opening spell of his, if you look at the last 2 deliveries of each over, conceded a total of 4 fours off of those 6 deliveries. And so that makes up the bulk of his concessions. He does have the nice run out, and finally is rewarded for all the dominance that we'd seen with a wicket. One as well for Dugarkar. Faisal Khan Ahmadzai with that spectacular 2-in-2. The bail trimmer that dismissed Raymond Reefer, followed by the unplayable ball caught by Sadeep Ganesh behind. Sanjay Krishnamurthy takes one with his first ball at the death. Goes 1 for 23. Mohan a little on the expensive side. Abhishek Paradkar a little on the expensive side. And East Bay not able to do enough with the bat, not able to do enough with the ball over the course of this action. And again, that very narrow window as we're going to take a look at the fall of wickets here in the second innings.
Carmine LaRue finding the outside edge of Yuvraj Samra's bat. Beautiful delivery there for him. You keep talking about this. I love the phrase, what is it? Bail trimmer or Shilogarkar getting that one. This, to me, is a fantastic athletic piece of fielding by Carmine LaRue to effect the run out. And then here we see that run out, absolutely critical. And that throw from point that somehow kisses the off bail. Really good stuff. And then Faisal Khan Ahmadzai getting one there, and then this, the ball of the match, going away from Gary Graham, and a brilliant catch by Sadeep Ganesh. And Sanjay Krishnamurthy coming in and taking charge, taking wickets at the death as he does. Lofted into the deep there. Pretty straightforward effort. Not much resistance for the Silicon Valley Strikers, and that is the end of the match. 142 for 7 is where they end up. East Bay Blazers winning by the margin of 23 runs.
And the one thing that I have been running as we've been discussing things and having a look at some highlights is I can give you this answer here. For a 150 first inning score, if Kings 11 Dallas posts 150, that's been about par around here, it seemed, over the course of these last 3 days. They would have to win by less than 6 runs for East Bay to make it in. So it would have to be, again, that very close. If they're chasing 150, the Blazers would need the Kingsmen to string that one out until the final 3 balls. That's how close it's got to be. That happens, East Bay sneak in. Otherwise, though, any other result, you're looking at Kings 11 or Chicago Kingsmen clinching a trip to Morrisville with a win tonight.
From the mouth of the experts, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here for my good looks. That is the end of today's play from here in this match. Join us at 6 p.m. Central Time for the aforementioned Kingsmen versus Kings 11 Dallas. It will be a barn burner. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in about 2 hours and 37 minutes. See you soon.